Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks so much for tuning to it. Hope you're doing well. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. Matthew's directing. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything, but remember this, if you do, we got you covered. We post all 3 hours of the program upon its conclusion every evening. And when you go back and get caught up, you do so with limited commercial interruption, thanks to our great sponsor, the fine folks at Southland Commercial and CarltonDean.com. You can email the show if you like. It's jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. You can find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app works for all your mobile devices. And now the YouTube stream, which if you'd like to watch us perform the show, you can. Weird for me to promote that. It is. If you go to YouTube and type ESPNTallahassee.com or ESPN Tallahassee, once you're at YouTube, then you can watch the show. And that's not everybody's thing. It might be some people's thing, and maybe you didn't know that. Now you can go. It is a little bit more accessible than some other things. Sometimes you can't use an app, or maybe you're at work and you can't stream it on the computer. So for whatever reason, meaning the website's feed. So, it might work for you on YouTube. I don't know. Populates every evening when you go back to catch up on all 3 hours. You'll note that all 3 hours aren't up right away on YouTube, but pretty close. I think we're getting close to this lighting being right and maybe the angles being okay. I'm going to experiment, Tom, with moving the camera over here or maybe asking that we get 3 or 4 cameras so that we have more angles of me.
Well, what kind of budget do we have around here?
We're going to, as more and more people buy in, as they already have, the radio has been such a success. It's time to take over television, and there are a lot of people interested. And, because of that, we get asked to be good. And I find that odd. I think it's an odd sort of request that people ask you to be good, as if the other 18 years haven't been that have led you to this point. And that's okay. That's all right. I get it. There's a lot of pressure to make money. And we're trying to make money for other people and ultimately ourselves. And if you can make money for other people, then you can make money for yourself. That's the way the world works, unfortunately.
Now,
that's how it works,
is the kind of transparency you don't get anywhere else.
No.
But you get right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
And the YouTube
feed.
That's right.
Brought to you by our friends.
Truthfully,
brought to you by our friends at Nice Tire.
I was going to say, you can plug a sponsor. It exists.
Thank you, Nice.
Yeah. We love you, Nice. And anybody else that wants to come on board, presenting sponsors, all of them.
You're in that corner,
Yeah,
right there.
In the left corner. You just constantly, when you click on it, you're like, look at that. There's more Nice. Anyhow, so the thing is, we get asked to be good, and I appreciate that. But I think it's kind of funny to be asked to be good. But, I've thought about one of the ways to be good is to fake it. You see a lot of that. One of the best ways to be good, or to at least pretend you're good, is to just fake it all. And you see that everywhere. Now, I think one of the reasons that the show's been good for a real long time is that we haven't chosen that route, but there's still time. We could go that route if we'd like to, Tom, and start to fake it. And we may make more money for others and eventually ourselves.
Buddy, for all the criticisms that we've levied against those who do just that, I'm sorry.
You won't let me fake it?
Well, you can, but I'll be as authentic as the day is long, sir.
Maybe that'll help offset the plastic image that I portray on a daily basis. Perhaps that'll work. If you want to do that, then I'll try to stay and keep it real. Maybe at the end of the day, the only person keeping it real will be Matthew. But nobody can hardly see him. They just see his back in the corner. They don't really know how real he's keeping it. He could be over there, for all we know, watching porn. I don't know what he's doing. He may not even be paying attention.
Yeah.
Every now and again, just clicking. Just like click it, because we don't have restrictions here at work.
Yeah.
No, not at our office. It's crazy.
That's where we're going.
You can do anything you want.
That's the kind of party we have here.
Streaming music, do whatever you want. So, what I would tell you is the way you fake it is to do what our employer does, what ESPN does, and what Fox does, for example. They've now created a system by which they just relate the news as they make it. So here's an example. If you create your own headline, the way Fox did today, for example, Undisputed reacts to celebrating training by the NFL. Well, that's the lead. There you go. You've done it. What we can do from here is Jeff Cameron says we should have won last night. And then there'll just be a big headline, and you could tune in every day at 3, and I'll tell you why.
And there's a still of you. It's a thumbnail for the video, and the thumbnail is just this.
And just
you pointing
something
at the
dramatic
camera.
or angry.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm going to give it to you
But it's you in the middle of your point.
Well, of course.
It's an action shot.
It's
not
a
really
dramatic
a frozen
headline as created by talentless hosts who then they follow with 5 stories. It's fantastic. You get Shannon Sharp to say something dumb. Skip comes back, says something dumber. There's your headline. It's awesome. And you can do it with Stephen A. Smith because he's a walking dumb quote. They're everywhere. You've got an opportunity to do this every day, and we haven't taken advantage of it.
Bayless, Tom Brady's career, quote, terminally ill, end quote. There it is.
I like that.
Yeah.
But you can't put a colon. It actually has to say colon. Ha ha! You see what I'm doing there with the cancer? So, Undisputed reacts to celebrating training. First Take asks LeBron, would he beat Michael? Which version of Michael? Asks Stephen A. The Wizards or Bulls? Tune in now.
Because remember the McDonald's commercial where Jordan's playing Jordan at different phases of Jordan's life. Which one would you beat LeBron?
I say neither.
There's North Carolina Jordan, Young Bulls Jordan with hair, bald Jordan wearing the 45.
I have news for you on a serious note. Not that serious, but
Wizards
it's going to be good news for you, Tom Lang. Your dream is on the cusp of being true.
We have a center?
No, in the midst of being. Oh, you mean in football?
Yeah.
In the midst, Bavion, if he wins the job, in the midst of preparing to be good today, because there are people interested in watching, I thought, this is not the kind of news story that I should bring to the table because it only serves Tom. It doesn't serve anybody else.
So that's what we're going with.
Nobody
All
cares.
Right.
Nobody, people will not feel as compelled by this storyline as you will. I don't know that it has mass appeal. It has some appeal.
Is it related to hockey?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, it's the NFL. It has appeal. No,
okay,
the topic itself is within the context of the NFL discussion, the larger discussion. So that always has appeal, maybe not as much in March 23rd. But you know how the NFL has done a very good job of remaining really omnipresent in our lives no matter what. I mean, at the red light, as you go drift off to sleep, free
Football
agency.
in general.
Yeah.
This week in general, after the darkness that was the conclusion to last weekend, I think all of our minds are starting to welcome that in a little bit. Yes.
A little bit, just a little bit. I mean, I am willing to say that I'm excited about the fact that they're finally going to do something at Florida State's spring practice. Like, they haven't done anything. Just a bunch of guys in shorts and T-shirts running around looking very athletic, not doing a damn thing. Now we're going to have a scrimmage coming up, and that's like – and when I say doing something, I'm not talking about the blood, sweat, and tears that they're actually expending every day in order to get better. That doesn't do anything for me or you. We need live action. We need results. We need things like passes, catches, yards, touchdowns.
And we need to hear Jimbo's interpretation of said results,
That's
which
right.
we'll always follow with, well, I got to check the film. We'll see what the film says.
You're going to get nothing over there from Jimbo, buddy. That's just the way of the world. That's the way it is. The only time you'll get something from Jimbo is maybe a rant about society. In season, he's great. In season, when I get him every Sunday, and I'm the only guy to do that, which is cool for television, but not at all. You can sit and we can talk, and he'll break things down and get into it with us a little bit, and that's a good thing, and I do appreciate that. But in practice time, you get a whole lot of I would hate to have to go over there and cover that every day. Thank goodness I'm in radio. Those guys over there wasting their damn time every day, all of them.
So do you think if we were to run, let's say, the video version of that interview with Jimbo, based upon the result, we should have a stock photo of Jimbo ready for each result?
Like a happy one.
Like happy
and then
Jimbo
an
is
angry
ready to embrace one of his players, but we
yeah.
just crop out the player. And so it shows him welcoming as though he wants to hug you after a victory.
If the budget continues to expand after we've made the man a bunch of money, and maybe us a little bit more, we can buy another camera, and we'll ask Jimbo if he's cool with us setting that up on his desk where he puts his feet while he's talking to me on Sundays.
Why wouldn't he be? Showtime got in there last year.
And those were really nice cameras. Maybe our cameras wouldn't be as nice, and he's worried about his good side, so I don't know. But maybe I could convince him. And I'll say, Coach, that's the Cameron camera. You just remember that there. When you see the little red light come on a Sunday, you're like, oh, it's time. Dolls. So what would happen then is that would go on. They would record that call, and we'd have it for you when we do our 3 o'clock live on that Monday. We could actually, in the second segment, go, here you go. This is what it looked like yesterday evening when I was talking to Jimbo. If you wanted to record me in the studio waiting to talk to Jimbo, you'd get a whole lot of me just staring blankly at a computer screen, hoping that the phone rings any moment, because that varies. It could be sometimes at 5, sometimes at 8 p.m.
Well, it's kind of like
know.
when, the Truman Show went to break, and then they have the little Truman cam in the top right as they're selling you the stuff, and then it's just him, sitting at the dinner table.
XRM, this is actual news, has decided to call it a day. He is what we think will be one of the triumvirate, if we want to say that are walking away. X is leaving to pursue a career in the NBA, according to Xavier Rathan-Mayes. And he said this about that: basketball has been such a huge part of my life since as long as I can remember. It's in my blood. Having the opportunity to come to Florida State 4 years ago to play basketball where my father played has been a dream come true. When I first arrived at FSU, I set many goals for myself. I wanted to follow my father's footsteps while also creating my own identity. Florida State allowed me to do that, and I will be forever grateful for the opportunities this amazing university has provided me both academically and athletically. My coaches have been mentors and role models who have helped shape me on and off the court. I've forged bonds with my teammates, my brothers, that I know will last a lifetime. Finally, he writes, I feel that now is the time for me to continue setting goals for myself at the next level. I'm excited to take this next step to pursue a career in the NBA. I will be forever grateful to be a Seminole, and I look forward to making you proud in the future. Nice sentiments from XRM, who got a lot better in his time here. I'll tell you what, he went from a streaky scorer who did a lot of lighting up the scoreboard when we were down 30 to suddenly becoming much more integral to our success in-game, within the flow of a game, as he became more of a distributor and learned how to balance a tough thing to do, which is be a scorer when needed, when called upon, when others weren't feeling it that night, but also to try to play within the offense. He didn't always succeed there, but again, he had to kind of go away from his original instincts, that of a prolific scorer, and become more of a distributor. So I commend him for the growth that he showed here. Yes, I was highly critical of him at times, kind of what I do, but I thought he got a lot better. And at the end of the day, I think we were all pretty pleased with X throughout the course of this season. He had a good year. He did. And so we wish him well. I hope he goes on to have success. I mean, I'm not one to stand in between somebody's goals and their life dreams. So, hopefully he goes on to continue to improve. He'll have to improve a lot. The league is awfully difficult, and obviously creme de la creme go on to that highest of position as a starting player in the NBA. He doesn't strike me as one of those. But if he continues to improve, he may have a role off that bench, and you can make a lot of money and have a nice little career doing something like that, so maybe it works out for him.
There was a big part of me as the season went along that would have said, all right, if all these guys move on, not that big of a deal. We can get some of these younger players. They can get their minutes. They can get their time, because there's enough talent that we see in a C.J. Walker and a Force and an Angola Rodas, and those are going to be your guards next year.
Rodas.
But as the season went along and came to its conclusion,
people may not understand why.
I held it together there. Are you proud of me for that? I thought, well, if one of them's going to come back, I mean, XRM does give effort on both ends of the floor, and I'm not so sure how much these guys are going to be able to score next year, and maybe that's the perfect combination for X. He can distribute while being the true alpha from a scoring standpoint, and he could do so as
I think that would have been a nightmare, my friend. I think it's time to move on. I think it would have been a nightmare. I'm not saying we couldn't have used his firepower, but I think the idea of him further balancing in a year in which we need to score, he would have failed in that endeavor, and that would have been a bit much.
And you're a man who likes to put people in a position to succeed.
You're damn right. I can't be in the midst of not drinking for a month, and then you put me in a room full of delicious porters. That's just not what you do. You put me in a room full of water. There you go, Cameron. You can make it.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
They're getting several estimates to compare apples to apples. You ever bite into an apple and find out the inside is rotten? Cheap roofing quotes are just like that rotten apple. Quote looks shiny and delicious because it's the cheapest, right? But you wind up with that rotten apple that leaks or starts to fail immediately. All roofing quotes are not equal. Cheap estimates equal cheap materials, subpar labor, or both. For quality that lasts, call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Do bold and embrace this moment at the Pandora Boutique at Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, with Pandora's Spring Bracelet event. You'll find a whole world of Pandora ready for you to pick out, stack up, and show off. Stop in between March 23rd and March 26th, and you'll receive a free Pandora bracelet with your Pandora purchase of $125 or more. Do shine this spring with Pandora. That's why she went to Jared. While supplies last, some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's opponents on Man versus Train. At the crossing, we have Rick, a 175-pound frustrated man who's running late for work. And on the tracks, we have Bull, a 1 million-pound freight train that takes a mile to stop. Let's see who comes out on top.
You can't beat a train, so don't try. Stop. Trains can't. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and it hardly seems possible, but March is here. And that means another fiscal year-end for Nissan Corporate. And Kraft Nissan is within striking distance of a huge year-end bonus. And I believe in sharing that year-end bonus with you, because half of something is better than all of nothing. And I'm betting that Tallahassee will realize a truly great deal when they hear it. My goal is simple. I want to make Tallahassee a Nissan town. And Kraft Nissan wants to set an all-time record for March, and we will sell 200 new Nissans. And to get Kraft Nissan started, 3 of our best-selling cars in Tallahassee get even better. All 2017 Sentras, Rogues, and Altimas have 0% interest for 72 months, no payments until June, and you get up to $2,500 cash back to you. Plus, Kraft Nissan's new kid on the block, the 2017 Titan XD with Platinum Package, is a real $10,000 off MSRP. It's Kraft Nissan's fiscal year-end with Nissan Corporate. Our discounts and prices cannot be beat because we share our year-end bonus with you. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much. Must finance through NMAC with approved credit.
Everyone's going naked this March Madness. Hooters is the place to be to cheer on your favorite team. All-you-can-eat wings to tip off the big tourney the week of March 13th. Did I mention Hooters has fish? All-you-can-eat fish 4 straight Fridays starting March 17th. Happy hour 4 to 6 Monday through Friday along with half-price apps. What about Wings Day Wednesday? Bottomless, boneless wings and fries. And remember, no great story ever started over breadsticks. Hooters makes you happy. 2000 North Monroe Street. Online at Hooters.com or call them at 385-2004.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
Cool winter days are best spent making heartwarming memories. Whether it's playing a board game with grandparents or watching a toddler take her first steps. Be comfortable this winter and turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Visit BaranoAC.com.
Barry Heating and Air Conditioning.
License number CAC 057652.
You know you love the Dan Levatar Show on ESPN Radio.
Wait a minute, I got to stop everything. Very important. I just got a very important email from a high-ranking ESPN executive. And it reads, Ditka fell asleep on Countdown once. but it's got a question mark. And I don't know if this guy is a sloppy punctuator or if there is question about the falling asleepness of Mike Ditka on Countdown.
Ditka fell asleep on Countdown once?
Mm-hmm. It's got a question mark. I will email him back and I will get an answer to you expediently.
Sounds right.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So the YouTube feed, you like this? The show becomes the topic. The YouTube feed is very strict, I think, about like music, right? So that's why some of you who have inquired about, because we have great bumper music here. It's music I've chosen, so I agree with you. But you won't be able to really hear it. Or like maybe a millisecond of it, right, Tom? Because they're
as you're talking and it goes
Nazis at the YouTube thing, right?
Well, yeah. What it does is it takes away some of the bells and whistles that you can do. Now, the licensing companies allow us to use the music, but they just, they take away all your other rights. They don't pull the video, but they do just about everything else. So we have to find a way to join the program as the music is being faded down underneath your words.
We got to trick them. I went over there and checked it out because some things are off today. We've got problems. Like FSU Tony wrote on the live chat, Tom. He wrote, I don't know about anyone else, but WTSM not streaming or TuneIn Radio. And then he wrote, yay, YouTube. And then Tony wrote hashtag a-hole. And then Mike wrote, Matthew's raving his ass off behind Tom. So Matthew got a mention behind you, Tom. That's good.
Raving,
yeah. What,
oh, yeah?
I don't know what that is. Is that like what the kids do
with
the drugs,
with
ecstasy,
with the Molly and stuff?
Yeah. So anyhow,
you do a Molly?
He
nodded his head.
Well, only when the show's on. Now the thing of it is, it stops all there because I can't get anything to work, Tom. I think we are failing the people. Is everything working?
The stream is, and I'm working on the stream right now as we're talking. This is why I wear many hats. So I'm working on the web stream for audio. The YouTube stream is just fine, folks. So why don't you go find, at Jay Cameron Show on Twitter, at 979 ESPN Radio, at _Tom Lang. Click the link, and there you go. That will satiate your need for the moment as I work on this other issue.
Yeah. So we're figuring it out.
Yes, as we're live on the air. It's fun.
That's kind of cool, though. I'm all right with that. I'm okay with that. Here's the news that I was going to give you that I thought would pick up your day, that would cause you to be pretty damn excited about really where they're headed with this, because we've complained about it for a long time. You know how pace of play is always brought up in baseball? It's always the biggest deal. So this is now, I guess it applies to all other sports because things have to get done in a hurry at all times. I mean, we just can't be sitting around for more than 5 minutes watching anything, because then that would require you to be patient and concentrate in some way. However, that's not to say there aren't legitimate criticisms for all sports and areas where they could pick it up, where they could do a better job. And Roger Goodell, everybody's favorite commissioner, has addressed this now and has mentioned, and did so before the Super Bowl, I might add too, that they were going to look at possible changes to pace of play. And part of it was the frequency of commercials, which at that point I laughed and thought, no, you won't. No, you're not going to get rid of commercials. That's never going to happen. Why would that happen? How could that happen? Well, I know how it could happen, and I was hoping they would entertain the idea of actually, doing what we've seen in some other sports, where it kind of, you get a little side thing. With the golf, who was it, or which tournament was it? It wasn't the Masters. I don't remember which tournament it was.
Oh, it was the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, Ryder Cup. That's exactly right. Yeah.
They called it playing through or some such thing.
Right.
Yes.
And if somebody pays extra for that, it's like exclusivity with the podcast or something, right? That's a good idea. I like that. That's fine. You get your money, but people can still see what's going on, and we're not burdened by all these commercials. So he announced those changes that he had referenced earlier before the Super Bowl. And I find this somewhat interesting, hoping to speed up games and cut down on the number of commercials. He writes this: together with our broadcast partners, we will be working to meaningfully reduce downtime and the frequency of commercial breaks in our game. We will also be giving our broadcast partners increased flexibility to avoid untimely breaks in the action. For example, we know how annoying it is when we come back from a commercial break, kick off, and then cut to another commercial break. I hate that too. Our goal will be to eliminate that. Now, that's not the big news of the day, Tom. I'm just commending him that if they actually do that, thank you. For the longest time, we've been talking about that. For the longest. I mean, back to the, as soon as they started doing that, which I can't pinpoint, but it would have been sometime in the early 90s, I think.
Even before they moved the kickoff up 5 yards, which means that it was touchback city at all times. So, the thing was, when they moved up the kickoff, then I thought they were going to eliminate the double break because that's always going to be a touchback. So what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And then touchbacks happened and the breaks continued.
And but the ratings only recently began to drop. But I think that's because they've been tied into a lot of other things. Replay was a big part of that too. Additionally, the NFL will use a play clock following the extra point and will consider doing the same after a touchdown. Regarding game timing, we're going to institute a play clock following the extra point when television does not take a break. And we're considering instituting a play clock after a touchdown. We're also going to standardize the starting of the clock after a runner goes out of bounds and standardize halftime lengths in all games, so we return to action as quickly as possible. Those are just a few of the elements we are working on to improve pace of our game. It got to the good stuff, and I kept waiting for it as I read on, and I thought, could it be the impossible dream comes true? Now, you are almost certain this is the detective cap or the conspiracy theory that you've thrown out there. You are almost certain that the NFL is in bed with, like, Roger Goodell's brother-in-law who manufactures the little booths that they, for whatever reason, antiquated as they are, still use, like VCR tapes under a hood where you stare into an old monitor.
Okay.
Like, why we're still watching that and doing this is akin to kids sending in faxes instead of using modern technology. Right.
Here's why. Okay, so when college football adopted replay, they said, we're going upstairs.
Yeah.
It's dumb to have somebody on the field look at a television screen. There's any number of logistical things that could go wrong with the wiring from the truck out to the field. Let's just go upstairs where somebody has a bunch of screens in front of them. Since then, they have command centers, control centers. The NFL said, you know what? That's a good idea. We should take a look at how we do things. Instead of one booth, let's have two booths on the field so the referee doesn't have to run clear across the field if they're in the opposite end zone to go look at a replay. So why don't we double the amount of booths that we have on the field? It was in that moment I thought, so you're going to spend extra money for a stupid cause, and therefore whoever is selling these booths and the technology has to be somebody related to Roger Goodell. It has to be.
Yeah, it's good. So the potential change that could be made for the upcoming season is the streamlining, as they put it, of replay reviews. The referee will now have a tablet brought to him. Tom, they're going to run a tablet out to him. An iPad, if you will. Here you go, sir. Check the iPad.
Oh, no. It's a Microsoft Surface, sir.
They're
the ones who they have the contract.
Brought to him rather than having to go to the sideline to review the play under a stationary hood. They're now going to have a tablet. This will be voted on by teams at next week's meetings. Quote, for example, next week clubs will vote on a change to centralize replay reviews. Instead of a fixed sideline monitor, we will be bringing a tablet to the referee who can review the replay in consultation with our officiating headquarters in New York, which has the final decision. This should improve consistency and accuracy of decisions and help speed up the process.
Stop it.
No. Incremental. Just little baby steps, tiny little baby steps. It's the NFL, you understand.
No, it's like adding an orange light to a traffic signal.
Oh, no, you and I agree.
Rip the Band-Aid.
No, you and I agree, buddy, but just little baby steps. No more. Brother-in-law owns the little hood thing in the corner that they race over to.
Guys,
No.
the answer is send it to somebody like Howie Schwab, who has 7 TVs at his disposal. It's not bring it out to the referee.
No,
Stadium
the
PA is
answer-
playing music loud, and he has to communicate with the truck. That's ridiculous.
The answer is to do what the NHL already does, what tennis to some degree does. Just have New York City centralized. Shoopadoop. Cherry, what say you? Thank you. We're done.
It's not
That's
my
it.
job on
It's
the
a
field.
millisecond.
It's now been thrown up to
No.
the appellate court. I'm sorry. This is beyond my jurisdiction.
But it's pretty easy. They put the little thing in their ear. They got the little device. They come down. No, we looked at it. He was out of bounds. New York says he was out of bounds. Incomplete. Second down. We're done. What are we doing? That's the end of it. No long-winded explanation. No bye rules or, the spirit of none of that. Just, I thought he fumbled. I was wrong. Second down.
Exactly. And
That's it.
A lot of the calls are cut and dry, too. Now, if you replay review at targeting or something in college, that gets a little bit dicey. I know. Hold our breath.
Mm-hmm.
However, I can recall a day early on when the NHL was doing these replay reviews, back in the 90s, by the way, and it was goal or no goal. And then the referee would come out and he'd signal. They didn't have the technology to do the PA system back then, but they'd signal goal, which is a point of the hand.
That's right.
Or no goal, which looks like safe in baseball.
That's right.
And people would boo. And I'd say, why are you booing?
Yeah.
This is a clear-cut rule. Either it's 100% over the line
Or
or
it's
it
not.
isn't,
Yeah,
or
that's
it's inconclusive.
the end of it. People want to boo, just like people want to be angry to be angry.
But let's just throw it up to a different power, a higher power who has 7 televisions at their disposal. So they
Yes.
can look at all reviews at the same time. Why? It's another, I know why, because Microsoft Surface is going to get more money out of this. Absolutely they
Listen,
are.
that's a conspiracy theory, sir, that I can't get down with. I don't know why you would think there'd be an ulterior motive to all of this.
Our friends at Intel.
Other than the betterment of the game.
Corporate champions.
Brought to you by Carrabba's. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Hire the professionals at Miller's Tree Service, where we'll go out on a limb for you.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Welcome to Staples.
Staples guy, I have my own business, so I wear lots of hats. Now I'm wearing my office manager hat because I need supplies.
Well, Staples has everything you need.
Now I'm putting on my CFO hat because I can't overspend.
And you won't. Right now, buy 2, get 1 free on all 10 ream cases of paper.
All my hats, and I would like to thank you.
They are welcome.
Staples, everything you need for business at great prices. And now buy 2, get 1 free on all 10 ream paper cases. In-store only plus tax where applicable. Ends 4/1/17.
Over 3 million businesses use Indeed.com for hiring, and independent research shows that 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. By creating the easiest, most effective hiring experience, we help businesses find great new people every day. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
It's the Hyundai Spring Cleaning Sales Event. The best way to buy is the Werner way. We monitor our competition's website, TV, and radio ads to make sure you get the best price. We shop North Florida and South Georgia so you don't have to. Drive a great-looking 2017 Hyundai Elantra for $169 per month for 36 months with $19.99 due-at-lease signing. You get Hyundai Assurance with America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Why shop anywhere else? WernerHyundai.com. Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 5th.
Hey, Wally Woodham here. In 1974, I set the national high school passing record at Leon High with 3,560 yards.
Jimmy Jordan here. Wally, I broke your passing record at Leon the very next year.
Well, Jimmy, in our 3 years together at FSU, I threw for 22 touchdown passes.
Wally, that's pretty good, but I had 39.
Well, Jimmy, look at the deal I got at AAA Transmission.
That's a pretty good deal, Wally. At least your car's a winner.
Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop in at AAA Transmission and ask for owner Tim Pridgeon, servicing Tallahassee for over 30 years. AAA Transmission, 1023 North Monroe Street, or call them at 222-2532.
Just like the Knowles on game day, TNT Supercenter, the largest Mahindra dealership for North Florida, plows through the competition. 0% financing for up to 84 months and rebates ranging from $1,000 to $6,000 depending on model.
This is outrageous!
Up to a 7-year warranty for select models. TNT has Impact XTVs in stock starting at only $99.99. They also carry a full line of Mahindra implements. TNT Supercenter, located at 14585 U.S. Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia.
They're back. 1 quart perennials, 4 for just $10. Now at the Home Depot. Perennials come back every spring. That's what they do. And these do it beautifully. They're healthy, happy, and selected for your region. So they're bred to thrive. Let them put down some roots and stay a while in your garden. Come next spring, they'll return the favor. Get a fresh take on spring with 1 quart perennials, 4 for just $10. Now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Selection varies by store while supplies last.
Hey there, this is Gabe Grass, founder of Grasslands Brewing Company. I'm inviting you and your family to celebrate our 2-year anniversary this Saturday, March 25th. We love the Tallahassee community, and because you're the reason we've come this far, we have a full lineup of family-friendly activities, brewery tours, local nonprofits, craft demonstrations, food vendors, and live performances. Starting at 12 p.m., we'll have tons of new and rare beer releases all day long. So come on out to the taproom this Saturday at 603 West Gain Street and join the party. Prost.
March Madness updates brought to you by Napleton Infinity, an official partner of NCAA men's basketball.
With your Napleton Infinity March Madness update, I'm Tom Lang. First, it was Dwayne Bacon, then it was Xavier Rathan-Mayes. XRM announces today on social media that his career with Florida State is over. It spanned 3 seasons on the court for Florida State. He had to sit out his first year in Tallahassee, and it included an NCAA tournament berth this year as the Noles finish in second place in the ACC. Tonight, the NCAA tournament returns to the court as night 1 of the Sweet 16 will be underway. Remember that 97.9 ESPN Radio is your home for all the March Madness action through the championship game, thanks to our partners at Westwood One. First up tonight, it's a 7-3 battle at 7:09 p.m. as the red-hot Michigan Wolverines play 3-seed Oregon in Kansas City. TV coverage on CBS. At 7:39 p.m. from San Jose, California, 4-seed West Virginia battles top-seeded Gonzaga in West Bracket action. You can find the game on TBS. The first of 2 nightcaps follows Wolverines and Ducks as top-seeded Kansas takes on Purdue. Then it's number 11 seed Xavier taking on 2-seed Arizona. Xavier, by the way, a 7 to 8-point underdog, depending upon the outlet you find in Vegas. This has been your Napleton Infinity March Madness update.
March Madness on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Napleton Infinity. Visit them at 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast or call 1-800-862-0406. Infinity. Empower the drive. Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
At least from a television ratings standpoint and attendance standpoint, the World Baseball Classic reached a new high. More people watched, more people attended, more people cared about the World Baseball Classic from start to finish than ever before. It really wasn't even close. But I do want to levy a complaint, and I've been a champion for the WBC, as Tom will attest. For a long time, I love it. Even when it was going on over at the, whatever that Disney World baseball facility is called, Wide World of Sports. The Wide World of Sports,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyhow, that's where they actually had, I think, one of the first games. That's just crazy to think about. There's like 80 people in there. Woo! But that was many years ago. It's done well, and it's doing better, and it was cool last night that we finally won one. And it was awesome to hear Jim Leland. In fact, actually, before I get to my point, before I levy my complaint, let's hear from Jim Leland, who I miss all the time and wish that he would be in the game forever. Of course, not just because he's a former Pirate manager, but because he's a national treasure. This is Jim Leland after winning last night.
I don't know what to say. This is, I got a chance to manage for our country. Coaches got a chance to coach for our country. The players got a chance to play for our country. But you know what? This is for the people that serve our country.
Yeah, that's well said, because here's the deal. So often you get all that fake patriotism where people just ride around and puff out their chest and pretend that everything America does is great and want to talk, with braggadocio. But in truth, a real form of patriotism, if I could say the word that I embrace, is celebrating those that serve the country, celebrating those that represent the country abroad and sacrifice on a daily basis. So it's awfully nice to hear from Jim Leland say something of meaning there, as opposed to just fake patriotism, wave the flag, and not really talk about what any of that stands for. So good on you, Jim, as always, and a cool win. But, I wonder how many people, and we talked about improved ratings, I wonder how many people will be watching next time or the time after. And this is true of all sport, and it's a common complaint I have, where all these leagues obviously bow at the feet of the master, which is the almighty dollar. Nobody really ever starts at a time that is even remotely reasonable for anybody to watch on the East Coast of any meaningful event, especially not for kids. My kids wanted to watch last night. Now they're 9 and 6. They're not staying up. They're not. They had school today. They're not going. But even if they were older than that, I wouldn't allow my middle school kid to stay up till after. That game was not over, and it was after midnight. I just don't know if we could ever find a way to get to a place where you could cater to both. You could somehow, because I do, and this is nostalgia speaking, I know, and maybe the ship has sailed, but I remember watching day playoff games and day baseball games and real doubleheaders and things of that ilk that don't exist anymore because of money. And I remember also where you could watch a World Series game in the middle of the afternoon. And this is just, It doesn't happen in the NBA. It doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. Not the WBC, certainly not. It doesn't happen. Even the Super Bowl, to some extent, they do a much better job. I'll give the NFL credit. Much better job. What was it this year? 6:30, 6 o'clock is when it started. All right, so that's reasonable. But they're one of the only leagues I can think of that actually caters to a group of their, what you would think is growing fan base.
Well, yeah, and MLB throws you a bone for the division series because they'll stagger the start times all day long. So they'll go 1 o'clock, 4, 7, and 10.
Yeah.
But then once you get to winning time, once you get to the pennant, and you're doing the championship series broadcast and the World Series broadcast, those are late. I think you should probably find a middle ground based upon the two teams that are playing, and I know that was impossible in this case because the United States played on Tuesday night, championship game on Wednesday night, so you don't have time.
Yeah.
But let's say you had a day of separation, then you could set the start time. Wouldn't it be wiser to start our ball game last night around 5, 6 p.m.? Because, Puerto Rico shares a time zone that's more similar with the East Coast of the United States. So, I understand that the West Coast fans get jobbed a little bit there, but they can leave work early, versus us staying up past midnight last night. And frankly, I couldn't. I didn't. I waited to see if Stroman was going to be left in for the 8th inning maybe as well, and wonder if they were going to try and push as hard as they can right up against that 95 pitch count to see if he could throw his no-hitter last night. Once Pagan hit the double down the line and left, the score was such that Puerto Rico's not coming back.
They're not coming back. You might as well go to bed and check
Exactly.
out the final moments if you'd like in the morning, which
Right.
is the beauty of, the DVR. But, yeah, and by the way, as an aside, actual performance, Stroman was not having any of it. And because there had been backlash directed at his parents and other family members because he chose to play for the United States instead of Puerto Rico, I rather enjoyed his mouthiness in return to the folks in the Puerto Rico dugout. I don't ordinarily support that sort of thing, but apparently he had heard it from a few players and heard it, obviously, from people back home in Puerto Rico. So that's good.
Yeah, in
Good
the
for him.
7th inning, as it was cleaned up, the first base runner again was that double, and then they took him out right then and there. And then they closed the book on him. It's 6+ of shutout baseball, one hit.
Yeah.
He says, F off for all the world to see, and then he walks down the dugout. He was clapping, very demonstratively, and then he puts the finger to his mouth, and then he goes, F off, turns around and walks down the dugout steps. Okay.
Well, and, I can imagine when if your mom or dad
Sure.
have been subject to taunts and angry emails and the like and cat calls while in attendance for one of those games, I think maybe you would feel a little edginess.
Well, and he got touched up 5 days previous by that very team. Yes.
Because he was shook.
Yeah.
As we learned later on. Interesting. That's a level of competitiveness that I rather enjoy, right? A guy kind of internalizing that, knowing he didn't deal with it real well the first go-around, channeling that into that performance last night, which was filthy. That's a postseason performance there for a guy who had a lot of focused aggression.
Well, and the thing that really stunted his chances, too, was the 22-minute inning or whatever it was the time before. And that's a problem that baseball in general is trying to deal with. But how many pitching changes did Puerto Rico go through in the top half of that inning? And it just went on and on and on. And the action of the inning was limited to maybe about 3 or 4 of those minutes. But you have a 22, 23-minute inning, and then you combine that with the break beforehand and the break after to go to commercials. So he's going about a half an hour between his 6th and his 7th innings, and you could see it. The edge was taken out a little bit. So the score does that, too. If it's still 2-0, I'll bet he comes out and he's locked in. But there's the human factor there.
Yeah, we're beating their ass.
Yeah, I mean, try sitting on a tee box waiting for somebody to clear the fairway for 5 minutes.
I'm remarkably poor at it. You're good at it.
For
compared
5
to me.
minutes,
I
not
struggle.
30.
I struggle mightily. If I can't step up and hit it, I'm gonna have a problem. I have problems anyhow, even when there's nobody on the course but me. That said, I do wonder if we'll see them do a better job in marketing this, because what Major League Baseball wanted to see was, is there legitimate interest? Is this something that both fans will embrace? It will promote the sport on a world stage, and then also, will our own players care to be part of this? And that, more than anything else, the fact that they won it is nice, ancillary benefit. But the truth is, what I embraced more than at any other point in a World Baseball Classic history is that the players cared, and they cared from day one, and they chose to say yes. Many of our best, our very best, whether you're talking about Arenado, who didn't have a very good WBC, got a couple hits at the end there finally, but he's a great player, one of the best in all of baseball, and he said yes. And obviously Paul Goldschmidt's one of the best players in all of baseball, and he said yes. And I mean, stars galore. Buster Posey, the best catcher in baseball, said yes and chose. So you had a lot of American greats who in the past wouldn't have said yes and really played hard and played at a high level and cared deeply. Look at Yelich right in the beginning, stretching a single into a double. I mean, that's a passion that you didn't see in previous WBCs.
No, and he said at the end that that's the most fun he's ever had playing baseball in his life. And you could tell, one quick footnote about the game itself, but I think Stroman would have rather had Posey out there because Lucroy cannot frame a pitch.
No.
And it cost him about 2 or 3 strike calls. Yeah. And Stroman also mouthed off into his glove, and I thought it might have been directed at Lucroy in the moment. And then they were walking towards the dugout arm in arm. I think cooler heads prevailed. But, yeah, there's no doubt, and it's about the American players caring. Because
the
players
of the world
all
cares.
the other nations, everybody cares. It's about how much do the American players buy in, and by and large, when you heard from just about anybody that they get in breakouts last night, so not just the people they put on the television channel, and of course they're going to say all the right things, you get the guys in the breakouts in the actual clubhouse, and they're talking about how much they love the experience. What happens? They go to their clubhouses for their respective MLB teams, and the stories. They get like the fish. The fish gets larger and larger and larger, and so everybody wants to be a part of it 4 years from now. Yeah.
I will tell you this. They could not have had a better manager for the situation. You talk about a guy who cares and a guy who represents things the right way, whether it's the sport itself, his players, or in this case, managing for the country. That clip is fantastic. I mean, you talk about – now, he's an emotional guy, and he's gotten more emotional as he's gotten older, and – there have been a number of articles that I would encourage people to read about Jim Leyland, and one of them was in the New York Times. You remember that Detroit Free Press did an amazing one as well. That will grab you. Why he feels the way that he does, why he was so passionate about the fans of Detroit and also Pittsburgh. You're talking about working class, cities. But it only stands to reason that he would be emotional here too.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. This is, I got a chance to manage for our country. Coaches got a chance to coach for our country. The players got a chance to play for our country. But you know what? This is for the people that serve our country.
Good on you, Jim, man. Always good.
Loves his country, and he loves the hell out of the sport. He said the only reason that he's not continuing to manage is because he can't stand the flights, the constant travel. But he was on a flight as of 6 a.m. Pacific time this morning to get back to the East Coast because he is a special advisor to the Detroit Tigers. So you close the WBC, an incredible accomplishment, an emotional ride for that man.
Yeah.
Who's, in his older years, and he's getting right back on a plane to help the Tigers try and win a World Series. That is devotion to the game.
Big time, and I think, too, when you get old-timers like that, and, I had the good fortune of talking to Jack McKeon a couple years in a row when I went down south to watch the Marlins spring training. Those are the people that can engender a love of baseball and even the marginal fan. And so when those guys kind of walk away from the game, it makes me sad. I'm not saying there aren't a new breed of managers that can do that, but as those guys that have been around the game for 40 and 50-plus years, when they talk about baseball with that reverence, you get swept away in that. It's almost like the great speech in Field of Dreams. You just kind of get swept away. And you're like, all right, I'm in. I feel like it's my duty to be in. It's baseball. It's beautiful. But I don't know. I don't feel the same way about, for example, basketball. But they're playing again tonight, and I'll talk about that next. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
QX80 with its V8 engine and luxurious interior. It's that time of year again. Time for the best of the best. Visit Napleton Infiniti today and lease the Q50 for $319 a month for 39 months. $24.99 initial payment, tax, title, license, and options extra. Call 1-800-862-0406 for details. Offer ends 3/31/17. Infiniti is an official partner of NCAA men's basketball. NCAA and March Madness are registered trademarks of the National Collegiate Athletic Association. Infiniti. Empower the drive.
The Home Team Challenge is on at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC. Dale Jr. has challenged us to sell 88 new Buicks and 88 new GMCs. Get 17% off MSRP on select 2017 Acadia Denali. Shop now at DaleBuickGMC.com. And we're giving away a Dale Jr. autographed race helmet. No purchase necessary. Race to 1850 Capitol Circle Northeast and enter. We are professional grade.
This is General Manager Bill Kalfas. Come see us for the best deal in town.
$300 value. Full details at DaleJuniorRace.com.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
Attention Rockheads, ESPN Tallahassee wants to hook you up for Welcome to Rockville, April 29th and 30th in Jacksonville. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com right now for the Welcome to Rockville ticket giveaway. Click on the front page banner to fill out our registration form. And every Friday, we'll be unloading 2 weekend passes for a lucky winner and a friend. A $200 savings from us to you. Winners will be announced every Friday afternoon in a 5 o'clock hour. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com and sign up today.
Join us for 8 days of nonstop tennis as the rising stars of the USTA Pro Circuit battle for a main draw wildcard into the French Open. It's the 18th annual Tallahassee Tennis Challenger, April 22nd through the 29th at the Forest Meadows Tennis Complex. Proceeds benefit the Wagner Neurointensive Care Unit at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. Sponsored by the Florida Lottery, Tallahassee Democrat, the City of Tallahassee, Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, 850 Business Magazine, and Comcast.
O'Reilly. Clean away dirt and grime and bring out your vehicle shine with super savings on O'Reilly Car Wash. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up a gallon bottle of O'Reilly Car Wash for $3.99. Clean, shine, and protect your vehicle with O'Reilly Car Wash on sale for $3.99 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
She used to play hide and seek in your backyard. Now she's getting married in it. So when you see a bare spot, you need something that patches it fast. Pennington One Step Complete has a revolutionary formula that repairs bare spots in only 2 weeks or less. Pennington has been trusted since 1945, and now it works even faster. One Step Complete from Pennington. honest green. Get your lawn ready for any occasion. Head to your local retailer to pick up One Step Complete.
Everyone's going naked this March Madness. Hooters is the place to be to cheer on your favorite team. All-you-can-eat wings to tip off the big tourney the week of March 13th. Did I mention Hooters has fish? All-you-can-eat fish 4 straight Fridays starting March 17th. Happy hour 4 to 6 Monday through Friday along with half-price apps. What about Wings Day Wednesday? Bottomless, boneless wings and fries. And remember, no great story ever started over breadsticks. Hooters makes you happy. 2000 North Monroe Street. Online at Hooters.com or call them at 385-2004.
Killearn Country Club is now offering Discovery membership. Jeff, what is this Discovery membership you're speaking of? During the month of March, you can purchase a 60-day term membership that will be good for the months of April and May, after which you can commit to a full membership at Killearn Country Club. If you commit by June 15th, your 60-day membership fee will serve as your enrollment fee. In other words, after your 60-day Discovery membership, you can join Killearn Country Club, and there's no upfront money due at contract signing. There is no better way to experience the many benefits of Killearn Country Club membership. You and your family will enjoy full access to the beautiful championship golf course, driving range, tennis facilities, fitness centers, swimming pool, dining room, clubhouse facilities, and social events. This is a limited offer, so call Lori Wilkie today at 893-2186, extension 145, to take advantage of this fantastic offer. Again, Lori Wilkie at 893-2186, extension 145.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. March Madness updates brought to you by Napleton Infinity, an official partner of NCAA men's basketball.
With your Napleton Infinity March Madness update, I'm Tom Lang. First it was Dwayne Bacon, then it was Xavier Rathan-Mayes. XRM announces today on social media that his career with Florida State is over. It spanned 3 seasons on the court for Florida State. He had to sit out his first year in Tallahassee, and it included an NCAA tournament berth this year as the Noles finish in second place in the ACC. Tonight, the NCAA tournament returns to the court as night 1 of the Sweet 16 will be underway. Remember that 97.9 ESPN Radio is your home for all the March Madness action through the championship game, thanks to our partners at Westwood One. First up tonight, it's a 7-3 battle at 7:09 p.m. as the red-hot Michigan Wolverines play 3-seed Oregon in Kansas City. TV coverage on CBS. At 7:39 p.m. from San Jose, California, 4-seed West Virginia battles top-seeded Gonzaga in West Bracket action. You can find the game on TBS. The first of 2 nightcaps follows Wolverines and Ducks as top-seeded Kansas takes on Purdue. Then it's number 11 seed Xavier taking on 2-seed Arizona. Xavier, by the way, a 7 to 8 point underdog, depending upon the outlet you find in Vegas. This has been your Napleton Infinity March Madness update.
March Madness on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Napleton Infinity. Visit them at 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast or call 1-800-862-0406. Infinity. Empower the drive. Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to go to listen live via the streaming, except for today. You won't hear it at all. There's no streaming to be had. Maybe you'll find that amusing when you go back and you finally can hear it via streaming. You're like, aha!
They can hit the listen live button, the big one. I changed that to the YouTube stream.
Oh, really?
That's what I do.
That's what you do on the fly, buddy. Well, that's another means by which to catch up with the show, the YouTube stream, which is new. And if you go to YouTube and type in ESPN Tallahassee, you can watch us perform the show. It's not a lot of, there's a lot of talking into a microphone, but we're not tap dancing or anything, although sometimes, I don't know, crazily, and maybe you'll catch this during one of these YouTube streams you're watching at some point. Tom will randomly, at least once a week, get up and begin to dance right when I'm trying to make a salient point. It's incredibly distracting, but he does it to keep me on my toes, and for that, I'm forever grateful.
And it's actually quite striking. My talent level is something else.
Of tap?
Oh, yeah.
I actually, as a kid, did want to learn how to tap dance.
Did you really?
I always thought it was really cool. I had seen a Sammy Davis Jr. thing when I was little, and I thought,
it's the noise,
that
yeah.
really looks cool. I wish I could do that. But I never took tap. I imagine it would make you pretty fleet of foot. It would be, you'd be all right if you took tap. If my kid said, Dad, I'd like to take tap. Well, all right, we're taking tap.
Well, son, it'll help you in red zone situations if you're getting the ball. Yeah, absolutely.
Jimbo's working on red zone situations. They have no time to waste, quote, unquote.
Ooh, that's a hell of a segue.
Red zone situations. Basketball returns tonight. I didn't even mention it in the first hour. Didn't care to. Had bigger, more important things. But I will say that I am welcoming back and have gotten past, it's a little bit like being broken up with, and now I'm going to the same party as the woman that broke up with me, but there'll be other people there too, people whose company I also enjoy. I don't have to have this thing ruined for me just because Xavier decided to clobber us about the head and neck.
She's doing the right thing. She's staying by the fridge in the kitchen.
That's
all
right.
So I'll stay out here in the living room.
I need her to stay by her car at the house. But that's okay. I'm going to tune in. It's going to be okay. We're going to do this. We're going to watch tonight.
I'll elevate my voice a little bit when an issue comes up that perhaps I could send a message. Not shouting at somebody, just talking loudly.
My Oregon Ducks are going to win this thing, buddy.
Your Oregon Ducks.
I did have them going to the Sweet 16. I had them actually going to the Final Four, I think. But, and I was aware of the injury, but I adopted Oregon as the team that I wanted to win the whole thing after we were knocked out.
Check with me in a week, and I'll tell you who I adopted.
It's Gonzaga, right? Your upset-minded St. Mary's pick got shown the door.
It did.
And
officiating was a little questionable down the stretch in that game.
Stop it. You're not. I doubt you're pulling for Purdue. I don't think you're pulling for Gonzaga. I don't think you're pulling for West Virginia and Huggy Bear. I don't think you're pulling for Kansas.
No,
you're not pulling for Xavier. You're not pulling for Arizona.
I picked Michigan to go to the Elite
Michigan?
8. Yeah, so maybe they could exceed my expectations.
You want to get it on? Oregon, Michigan, buddy.
Oh, wait a minute.
Piece of this right
here. Look at this. Serendipity smiles on us,
that?
Jeff.
What do you want?
Okay.
Tall boys? I
sure.
believe you're into me for some tall boys.
I'm into you for some craft tall boys.
That's
right. Mm-hmm.
What do you owe me? What do you, like 19, 20, 21, 22?
I'd say between
24,
17 and 19, probably right in the middle there.
Somewhere in there?
It's probably right between those two numbers.
7:09 p.m. That's tonight, right?
And it's right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Yeah, brought to you by Carrabba's. I made that up.
Not really. It's brought to you by Infinity, yeah.
No, but if Carrabba's would like to sponsor anything we're doing, let this be the clarion call. I would say to you, sir, that the wagering begins tonight when 31-5 Oregon takes on 26-11 Michigan. You like how I did just use the records?
Absolutely.
Even though I don't play in the same conference or anything else.
That's funny. That was one of the things that was mesmerizing in watching Survive and Advance the 30 for 30, which was on yesterday. I caught the tail end of it at home.
The NC State?
The NC State.
It's really good, isn't it?
It's really good, and I forgot how sad it is when it ends. Because,
yeah.
Well,
they're dropping like flies.
Well, they do. They do the Jimmy V stuff with the speech of the ESPYs.
And then Lorenzo Charles.
Before the end. Before the conclusion of the story of the tournament, before they win the title in the documentary. But then they show the 10-year anniversary, and Jimmy V is not doing so hot, but he shows up, and he speaks to the people in the crowd, and he hugs each one of his players individually and tells them he loves them, and they all knew that was probably the last time they were going to see him.
They can get you.
That got me. And then they take one of the star players out to the gravesite of Jimmy V, and it's just I've forgotten about all of that.
I'm telling you, they'll never get you like they get you with the Buddy Ryan one. That Buddy Ryan thing.
With Singletary?
Good Lord.
Oh.
I can't read this.
Yeah, it's brutal.
With the letter?
I don't even want to look at you. I'm just looking over here at the computer.
I don't think I can read this.
That's
a brutal one.
Because they asked one of the graduate assistants about when Jimmy V showed up at the 10-year anniversary, and he said, "I can't do it, guys. I'm sorry." To the documentarian, he said, "I'm sorry."
But I always wonder, and I never like when guys apologize for that. Man, I'm sorry I love this dude and he's dead and you're asking me about it, and I'm probably not going to be able to talk about it without breaking up a little bit because of the fact that he's dead.
And they do the trick with the camera where they zoom and it's blurry and then it's not blurry and it gets real close to his eyes and he's blinking and he's evading.
But you know what we all do, and I'm good at it now because we all recognize the signs. Like, the oddity of it is for men, and sports elicits this more than most. Now, there are certain historical things that can happen, and obviously all of us have fallen victim at one time or another to the accidental stumbling across, a soldier coming home surprising their kid story.
Ugh.
You're done. You're done.
Even the animal.
He's
the
an
animal
umpire.
that remembers them after a few years.
Jumping up and flipping out. Yeah. We've all done that. Like, I don't need to watch this. I don't need to watch this. I'm going to watch this. Oh, look at that. Oh, he's going to be an umpire.
I'll look into the camera.
He's going to play the role of an umpire. His daughter doesn't realize that she's playing softball. Look at that. Oh, look. Oh, there it is. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm crying. All right. You got me. I knew that was coming. The latest one that Rinaldi got me with was the damn dog. If you guys haven't seen the one about the dog, just Rinaldi dog, just type in. You'll find it.
Ultimate Race.
Yeah, Ultimate Race.
It was
dog,
funny.
Rinaldi, forget it.
Because you had done a story. We did a segment on a story that you read about the ultimate, endurance challenge.
170 freaking miles of running over.
It was an individual
Andes
challenge.
terrain or something. Yeah,
exactly. It was an individual challenge, but this was a group challenge, and that's where these people find the dog. And
the dog is willing to die to stay with them.
Yes, because it's all it's
got. It's all it's got.
Is this pack of people?
But when that badass Swede starts to break down on us, then I'm like, oh, you got
it's not fair.
Rinaldi, what are you doing to me here?
It's not even a Rinaldi. You put a sappy story with a dog. It's amazing.
Well, and a big, strong man who has been able to endure
they fed the
hell.
dog.
And
that was why, because they fed the dog in a moment of kindness.
It came out like a week ago. You can find it easily. Speaking of Rinaldi, let me do this though.
Yeah, please.
So, unfortunately, and I know his dad listens to the show, and I doubt Jameis does, but our heartfelt condolences to Jameis Winston and his family. His grandmother died, and certainly Knowles fans know this because we're well aware of Jameis' story. But he really, really felt a closeness to his grandmother. And expressed that closeness around every turn, and really cited her frequently as being kind of the rock in his life. And we had the good fortune of being at his draft party. Now, I know that's self-serving, and I don't mean it to be, but in truth, we got to witness close up and personal. Tom and myself went to the Jameis Winston draft party. Now, if you're new to the program, you don't know that. If you've been around for a few years, you know we were there. We broadcast from there. We did an interview with Jameis in the living room, Judge David Hobdy's house, and we had a great time. It was something really just to kind of behold, just to see
how the machine works.
Yeah, just to see how it all works, especially in the middle of nowhere, Alabama. So to watch the NFL Network come in and to watch ESPN, and they sent Rinaldi, and they're all out there, and they're all trying to make sure that they got power, and there are a lot of funny stories that go along with this.
Because they didn't.
And then family and friends are kind of, pushed towards the backyard. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's a huge backyard, and they had the tables set up and the food and the drink and a giant big screen and all of this so that everybody could watch it. But Jameis, along with his dad and mom and grandmother and some other close relatives and his girlfriend, Breezy Boo, they were all in the house, and I could call her.
I know, you just say that
I could call her Breezy
effortlessly.
Boo. Me and Breezy Boo, we know. So anyhow, Breezy Boo was there, and they were all there, and then he got to be right next to his grandmother when he was drafted, and you could see more than anything else. I believe this. I don't know if you agree with me. I don't even think we discussed it on the way back. Remember how deathly ill you were? Anyhow, I could see that. I think he did the whole thing in Alabama with all of those family and friends solely to be with her.
Yes,
solely to be with his grandma. To me, she had diabetes. I think he knew certainly she wasn't going to live a long life. And it seems to me that he did all of that just for her. And it was cool to be part of that, to see that.
No, that was a big deal. Remember, there was controversy that he didn't show up, and some were speculating that was because he had an axe to grind with ESPN, or it was a personal media shot. Well, he did, as it turned out, on the ground in Bessemer, but not really in terms
he
of
still did
the
choice. Interview with what's his face, and they did.
With Rinaldi, yeah,
they screwed it up, and Rinaldi gave him a nice little note about how much he loved him
in front of everybody. Of course, yeah. No, but the truth of it was that's why he didn't go, because his grandmother couldn't travel. They thought that it was probably too much for her to travel. It would have been too exhausting. And remember, Michael Irvin challenged him and said he should be there.
Because he's stupid.
Exactly. That was the truth of the issue. He took his shots at ESPN by allowing NFL Network to do the first interview with him after he was drafted. That was his little silent protest against ESPN. But, yeah, it's 100% the reason. They hosted it at the Hobby's house because it was more welcoming to a group of people that was that large. And that party back there, the music was kicking all night long. And
I wanted to be part of that instead.
They embedded the cameras out front. They did not. I mean, the people were meticulous. His people said, no, you cannot get B-roll shots about or anything that has to do with the party that's in the back.
I don't know what it is. Maybe... It's washed over my entirety of being that the people just know I'm down, everything's cool. They let me just roll back there. Now, most people, they didn't get the pass, but I was back there hanging out, talked with his uncle for quite a while. I had a drink, I got to be honest with you, I did. And then I came back out and joined the media who were shunned. And then we went inside and did the whole to-do.
We were inside. I talked to his uncle too, but that was in between.
Not in the backyard, you didn't.
No, I did not in the backyard. I know, you did get back there. You had a beer.
I went to the backyard.
That's
right.
I know.
Yeah.
I was standing out front.
Yes, I was in the backyard.
Like a blank.
They were like, this guy's all right. I can tell this guy's all right.
Hey, there's Jimbo. Look at our media flocking to Jimbo. You can't just leave him alone. Like for one trip. He'll be back out. Remember when Jimbo had the second media availability? The one after Jameis was drafted, he's wearing the hat? Jimbo was all right. He's feeling all right.
He was having a good day. That's the loosest I've ever seen him.
Indeed.
He was having a good day. Had a good time.
And he comes back in the house when we're waiting because he had just got done with the personal interview that you did. We saw him go with the AP, the Buccaneers, and somebody else.
Right.
But then Jimbo comes back in, and he's all smiles like, hey, how's it going?
Jimbo was elated because his star pupil had just been drafted #1, and it certainly was great PR, but I think he legitimately liked that family an awful lot, and there's a lot to like. And anyhow, our condolences go out to Jameis and his family for the loss of his grandmother, whom, again, we'll always have that little story that we got to see up close and personal, that moment of genuine love and joy, and a moment that you don't really, I don't think I'll ever be at another draft party where the #1 pick is being selected and I'm standing in his house.
No, 9 times out of 10,
it doesn't seem likely.
49 times out of 50, they're going to be at the draft, wherever the draft is itself, and their family moment's going to be in a green room, not in their own home.
That actually became a source of controversy. I don't remember if it was a player from Wisconsin or something that did something similar to Jameis. He went fishing or something with his...
Yeah, it was Joe Thomas, wasn't it?
No.
I thought it was.
Was it?
It might not have been, but as he was selected by Cleveland, I thought he was going fishing. I could have it wrong.
Why? I feel like Joe Thomas has been in the league for 20 years.
It was a long time ago, that story, I thought. I could be wrong about that.
No, I meant the same year Jameis didn't go with another player. I was going to say, damn, Joe Thomas is been in the league for a while, my man. Joe Thomas is 48 years old.
Stories in general. My apologies.
He beat Joe Lewis's ass. Joe Lewis is 142 years old.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Delicious food, the best drink specials. Connect to their free Wi-Fi and keep up with your bracket. From the opening tip to the cutting of the nets, come see why Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Oh, my goodness!
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, our words are as real as our ingredients, which we call honestly awesome food. To illustrate that, let's play 2 truths and a lie. Moe's Pico de Gallo is A, made fresh daily. B, a good name for a conquistador. C, the fourth amigo. Okay, we stink at lying. When we say something, it's true in every restaurant. So come into Moe's Southwest Grill for some honestly awesome food, like a burrito bowl created with our 20-plus fresh ingredients.
With 6 locally owned Tallahassee locations, there's always a Moe's close by. Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
Cool winter days are best spent making heartwarming memories. Whether it's playing a board game with grandparents or watching a toddler take her first steps, be comfortable this winter and turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Visit BaranoAC.com.
Barry Heating and Air Conditioning.
License number CAC 057652.
Miller's Tree Service. We go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay with Miller's Tree Service. When you need work done in your yard, you want a professional, someone you can trust to provide high-quality service and get the job done right. We've got 3 certified arborists and 6 work crews that can meet all your tree care needs. Hire the professionals at Miller's Tree Service, where we'll go out on a limb for you.
Miller's Tree Service. We go out on a limb for you.
Do bold and embrace this moment at the Pandora Boutique at Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, with Pandora's Spring Bracelet event. You'll find a whole world of Pandora ready for you to pick out, stack up, and show off. Stop in between March 23rd and March 26th, and you'll receive a free Pandora bracelet with your Pandora purchase of $125 or more. Do shine this spring with Pandora. That's why she went to Jared. While supplies last, some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's opponents on Man vs. Train. At the crossing, we have Rick, a 175-pound frustrated man who's running late for work. And on the tracks, we have Bull, a 1,000,000-pound freight train that takes a mile to stop. Let's see who comes out on top.
You can't beat a train, so don't try. Stop. Trains can't. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
The Home Team Challenge is on at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC. Dale Jr. has challenged us to sell 88 new Buicks and 88 new GMCs. Get 16% off MSRP on new Encores, Enclaves, and Envision. Shop now at DaleBuickGMC.com. And we're giving away a Dale Jr. autographed race helmet. No purchase necessary. Race to 1850 Capitol Circle Northeast and enter.
This is General Manager Bill Kalfas. Come see us for the best deal in town.
$300 value. Full details at DaleJuniorRace.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. West Virginia or Gonzaga?
West Virginia.
Xavier or Arizona?
Arizona.
I don't know. You're just thinking about your bracket. You're not thinking about it's not emotional, right?
I'd picked us to beat St. Mary's in this game, so I don't care about that.
Oh,
one.
You had us going that far?
I had us go into the 8, buddy.
Man.
Because I had St. Mary's doing the unthinkable last Saturday. Problem is, we did the very thinkable by the end of the season, which was get blown out.
Yeah, frustrating. I don't know. I feel like the that subject is interesting, and it created an opportunity to talk about a bigger picture regarding what the team will look like, what the team should be moving forward. If you're new, if you're just joining us today, it should be noted that XRM has decided to declare for the 2017 NBA Draft, and that's back-to-back days. And I would imagine next up, Jonathan Isaac. Credit to Jonathan Isaac to allow the upperclassmen to make their announcements. Isaac is by far the best NBA prospect on the team and the only sure bet to be a guy in that league for a long time to come, and he's the last to announce that he's going to the NBA.
Maybe he was doing that, or maybe he was saying, these two can never get along, so maybe I'm just going to let them go, and then I'll stick around and run the show for another year. How about that?
Yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? But that's not going to happen. And I do like the message from both Bacon and XRM to the fans and to the university. I already read XRM's comments. I'll read them again probably in the 5 o'clock hour. But I do like how far he came in his game. And really, in essence, how far the program's come in a pretty short period of time here, going back to not making it, barely making it, missing out on the tournament a year ago. Now, if you want to go back 15 years, I got that. I mean, we can still hold the sins of the previous 4 years prior to this one against them or further back. I got that. But I just mean in terms of changing style and changing the way that they play the game. Since Ham's made a dedicated return to something that looks a little bit more like basketball that we enjoy watching, they've gone a long way pretty quickly, and we were wondering whether that could happen. Could you change your identity and become something completely different? Not a little different, completely different. And they have. Now I wonder what they're going to look like moving forward, because here's what they can't do. They can't take a step back. There's no more of that. You don't get another couple of years of not doing anything. You got to sustain this, and it'll be interesting to see if you can.
Well, we define our terms of what is acceptable and what is a reasonable expectation here at Florida State. In the same manner, we should define what a step back is, meaning
not making the tournament. If they don't make the tournament, I'd fire them.
Okay, well that's as clear cut as it gets.
Yeah, that's clearly defined, right? Peace out. We're moving it forward.
Okay,
there you go. So,
well, we know where we stand. That's been a great meeting.
I think you wanted me to touch on that, right?
Yeah, that's all right. That's awesome. Okay.
So I saw this. This is crazy, and I feel bad for this guy. And I want to ask you, I wonder if it'll change what happens with these pro days. You may have seen this, but a NFL draft prospect is going to miss a lot of time, and it's UCLA corner Fabian Moreau. He was looking to improve his combine bench press numbers, and he was going to do this at Pro Day. Well, why do I say that? All right. Well, I say that because he didn't need to improve anything else. At the combine, he ran a 4.340. Motorin, he had a 136-inch broad jump. He had risen on most teams' draft boards on into the first round or early second round. And the thought was that the ceiling is very, very high for an athlete of this caliber who ran and jumped the way that he did and showed, obviously, a change of direction, any number of other things, good hips, all of that that you're looking at with corners. And then he wanted to improve his bench press numbers. You're a corner. Well, at his pro day, he tore his pectoral trying to bench. Man, I almost said something I shouldn't say. First of all, I'm not having a pro day. If I run a 4.3, I'm a little Dion here for you. I run a 4.3 and a 4.35 40 official at the combine as a corner. I'm getting in my limo. I'm going to my plane. I'm flying. I'll see you again at camp after I've been drafted in the first round. Peace. You're a corner. I don't care if you can bench 135 pounds.
I wonder who told him he needed to do that, too.
Well, I don't think it was his head coach, because that was actually spoken about, and I think it is interesting. Jim Mora Jr. said his numbers, and I quote, were good enough at the combine that for him to come out here and to work out today, it just wasn't that important. And all of these teams that are really interested in him, well, they'll be back to see him in an individual workout as well. So anything that happened to him, I believe, is minor and really nothing to worry about. Now he's trying to, help the kid out. There's a timetable of 6 to 8 months. That's brutal. I don't know anything about that kid. I don't know what his story is. I just know what he projected as, and I know what he ran and jumped and did all that at the combine. And you're a corner, my man, out here trying to worry about bench pressing. No.
the cold-blooded general manager in me comes to life very quickly when he hears a story like this. It's, ooh, okay. So everything about him, all the tools that we need are going to be fine. It's just a matter of we're going to have to punt on the first half of his rookie season. So where can I get him at a good value in the draft? How far will he fall? Will he even fall? Because this isn't something like an Achilles injury or an injury to a hamstring.
It's not going to affect his speed. Right,
no, it's not going to affect his speed at all. So he does what he needs to do in rehab. He gets the strength back. The atrophy is fought through, and there we go. We get him back to normal. Well, all the gifts that I need in order for him to be what he needs to be are there. And in the meantime, I can get him integrated into my defense. So how far is this going to have him drop? Because if he drops 10 or 15 spots, I'm going to trade up and go get him.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, right? I have no idea and it's a good test case because how far do you fall if you're a corner and you tear a pec? Probably not that far if they're impressed with the vertical, they're impressed with your ability to get into somebody's hip pocket and run. They're impressed with your 40 time. They're impressed with all of those elements. If that's the case, I can't imagine that it's going to cause him to drop too much. But you know and I know that if you go from the first round to the second round, it's costing you millions of dollars potentially. If my man, let's say he was projected to go somewhere late in the first, 25th, 26th, 27th, and now there's folks that have question marks and he falls into that second round, damn, for a simple pro day?
Okay, for example.
Pro day. I mean, for bench pressing at a pro day. What is his agent doing?
Yeah, the pointlessness of that exercise aside, I just looked up Jalen Smith because he's a recent example who in the bowl game
obliterated his leg. Yeah,
exactly. And he was drafted 34th overall by the Cowboys. So they went up, they got him, and he was going to be a top 10, 15 pick consensus.
He cost himself. That's the wrong thing to say. It's not his fault. But by playing in the bowl game.
Exactly. And that's one of the debates we had a few months back about what's the right thing to do in that situation if you're not playing for a championship.
I think you play. But anyhow.
He did. He got hurt, but he was dropped back down to 34th. They saw enough in him, and they were worried enough that another team saw enough at him at 34 to say, all right, enough. Let's make sure that we draft this guy here. So it cost him 20 spots for an injury that would actually affect his on-field performance potentially versus this being a pectoral injury not necessary for a cornerback.
Which would, in the case of Jalen Smith, cost him millions of dollars.
It did.
Millions and millions of dollars. Oh, by the way, when I say things like, I think you play, well, I do think that. But I also wouldn't really hold it all that much against a guy, the way that some people do. There's great vitriol when people sit out games, bowl games. Why would you ever do that? This is part of a horrific trend. I understand it. I don't get that upset about it. I think it would be hard for me, but I've never been in that position. I don't know what it's like. If somebody said, Cameron, you got to take tomorrow's radio show off. You got to protect your vocal cords. You're about to get drafted and make millions. I got to do the show.
If you don't, then your family is taken care of for a good long time. Perhaps your kids' you're taking care of, Jeff.
I'll tell you this. I hope this kid doesn't get hurt too much by this because, to me, his agent should be slapped. What are you doing, my man? What? 4-3. Peace, Indianapolis. It's been real. I'll see you guys in the first round after I'm a millionaire. That's the next time we're talking. You're not going to see me at a pro day out there running on the turf. You're not going to see me lifting weights or jumping. No.
You'll see me at the pool.
You'll see me chilling, getting ready to make millions. Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
Bring the whole team or experience true power in the full-size Infiniti QX80 with its V8 engine and luxurious interior. It's that time of year again. Time for the best of the best. Visit Napleton Infiniti today and lease the Q50 for $319 a month for 39 months. $24.99 initial payment, tax, title, license, and options extra. Call 1-800-862-0406 for details. Offer ends 3/31/17. Infiniti is an official partner of NCAA men's basketball. NCAA and March Madness are registered trademarks of the National Collegiate Athletic Association. Infiniti, Empower the drive.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car, yes sir.
Hey there, this is Gabe Grass, founder of Grasslands Brewing Company. I'm inviting you and your family to celebrate our 2-year anniversary this Saturday, March 25th. We love the Tallahassee community, and because you're the reason we've come this far, we have a full lineup of family-friendly activities, brewery tours, local nonprofits, craft demonstrations, food vendors, and live performances. Starting at 12 p.m., we'll have tons of new and rare beer releases all day long. So come on out to the taproom this Saturday at 603 West Gain Street and join the party. Prost.
Everyone likes to be recognized and to be shown appreciation for a job well done or service beyond the call of duty. Let Artistic Awards and Engraving provide the perfect award or gift for you. Artistic Awards is family-owned and operated, and they're also veterans. They take pride in providing high-quality professional service and superb craftsmanship. Not only do they have an extensive selection to choose from, they will create a custom piece just for you. So there's no reason to shop anyplace else. Stop by Artistic Awards and Engraving today at 2001 North Monroe Street across from Hooters, or visit them on the web at artisticawardsanengraving.com.
Get to JCPenney's Friends and Family Sale starting this Thursday and spring into savings. Save big on spring must-haves like select fashion tops just $14.99 or slip into select trendy spring sandals only $19.99. Want to stack on even more savings? Take an extra 30% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon on select items throughout the store and at jcp.com. It's JCPenney's Friends and Family Sale and Sunday. That's getting your pennies worth. JCPenney. Valid 3/23 to 3/26. Extra 30% off subject to credit approval. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for coupon details.
You're at Lowe's buying a new washer and dryer. You're at Lowe's buying a new washer and dryer because your kids are growing. And because your kids are growing, their clothes are growing. But your old washer and dryer are not. Luckily, Lowe's has free local delivery on appliances $396 or more, plus a 30-day satisfaction guarantee on all new major appliances. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Guarantee based on refund and price match policies. More fees may apply. U.S. only. See store for details.
Hi, this is Chris Kraft reminding you that the 2017 Tally Awards are Saturday, March 25th at the Moon. So come join your local business and community leaders for a fantastic night of great food, dancing, and live music from St. Paul and the Broken Bones as we celebrate Tallahassee's People's Choice Awards for favorite local businesses. This is the business networking event of the year. Visit tallyawards.com to purchase your tickets today. The 2017 Tally Awards presented by Kraft Nissan is a benefit for Capital City Youth Services, and all proceeds go to serving homeless, runaway, and at-risk youth right here in our community. Did you know that CCYS has a transitional living program to get kids off the street? Or that CCYS has a street outreach program that teaches basic life skills to our homeless youth? But it takes your generous support. So please join us at the 2017 Tally Awards Saturday, March 25th at the Moon. It will be a great evening of friends, fun, and celebration. And best of all, it's for a great cause. Purchase your tickets today and help CCYS help our youth right here in Tallahassee. Thank you. Tickets and sponsorship information is available at tallyawards.com.
March Madness Updates brought to you by Napleton Infinity, an official partner of NCAA men's basketball.
With your Napleton Infinity March Madness update, I'm Tom Lang. First, it was Dwayne Bacon, then it was Xavier Rathan-Mayes. XRM announces today on social media that his career with Florida State is over. It spanned 3 seasons on the court for Florida State. He had to sit out his first year in Tallahassee, and it included an NCAA tournament berth this year as the Noles finish in second place in the ACC. Tonight, the NCAA tournament returns to the court as night 1 of the Sweet 16 will be underway. Remember that 97.9 ESPN Radio is your home for all the March Madness action through the championship game, thanks to our partners at Westwood One. First up tonight, it's a 7-3 battle at 7:09 p.m. as the red-hot Michigan Wolverines play 3-seed Oregon in Kansas City. TV coverage on CBS. At 7:39 p.m. from San Jose, California, 4-seed West Virginia battles top-seeded Gonzaga in West Bracket action. You can find the game on TBS. The first of 2 nightcaps follows Wolverines and Ducks as top-seeded Kansas takes on Purdue. Then it's number 11 seed Xavier taking on 2-seed Arizona. Xavier, by the way, a 7 to 8 point underdog, depending upon the outlet you find in Vegas. This has been your Napleton Infinity March Madness Update.
March Madness on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Napleton Infinity. Visit them at 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast or call 1-800-862-0406. Infinity. Empower the drive. Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Smoking and drinking on a Tuesday night. It's how you win it. Sorry, just me and the Beastie Boys. Would you invest in Florida State football stock or sell right now?
What am I buying it at?
It's not really a stock
question.
Okay, the company stock.
What's the
after the IPO?
Yeah, like. What do I have to get it to?
Perceived value,
college football playoff value. Is that the only time I can cash it in?
Yeah, how about we do that? It's that's the only time you can cash it in, and it has to happen within the next 4 years.
Oh, in the next 4 years?
Okay, how about 2?
I'm still buying. I'll buy it. You got 2 years? Yeah, I'll buy.
You got 2 years.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't.
Well, I'm not sure. I think it's a little bit more difficult than that. I'll say this. I asked you that question partly because I was at Publix yesterday. I love Publix. They don't invest any money in the Jeff Cameron Show, and I, for the life of me, can't figure out why. But I'll tell you, because I'm there. I invest in them.
Well, and this is where listening is a pleasure.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Wow, look at this freaking guy. Yeah. We should call it a day.
Hey.
So I was there, as I'm wont to be, both because it's desirous, but also because my wife summons me to do so seemingly hourly. Our new studios are near a Publix, and that's never a bad thing. I go over there sometimes, just stand in the aisles and behold just the bounty of goodness. And I thought while I was there that it was awfully nice to run into a listener. Happens frequently, which is also flattering, and I mean that. No sarcasm or irreverence. And I got to talking to this gentleman who I believe I've met, but I don't know his name. And I feel bad about that. That, too, can happen, where I talk to a guy, and I'm sure I've met him at an event of some kind, but I have no idea what his name is, because you end up meeting lots of people. And you know, I tend to forget names pretty easily. So anyhow, Jerry, we'll call him, said to me that he thought that we were going to beat Alabama. And he said it kind of casually. He just, you know, we were talking about baseball, we were talking about basketball, and then we got to football, and he was going to ask me a question about spring football. And I said, well, unfortunately, really nothing's happened with spring football up to now, other than you get a look at the new guys. You can kind of get a look at body types to see if somebody's able to contribute. They have a body to contribute early in their careers, you know, things like that. But because it's been so disjointed, it's kind of a convoluted spring. It's been strange. They start, then they stop, and then kind of start back up. But even then, it's in shorts and shoulder pads. So it's really just not a thing to report until this scrimmage, which is coming up on this weekend.
Monday, yeah.
Or it's Monday? I thought it was Saturday.
I could be wrong.
Maybe Monday. Maybe it's Friday. I should double check that. But anyhow, they're scrimmaging really soon. I do know that. And I suddenly got to thinking that A, it's been a quiet spring, and B, I don't know what my expectation of Florida State football is just yet. I don't have to in March, but I usually start to figure it out. I do, and we talked about it yesterday, I do feel good about the defense, and I know that's strange given that they made no defensive changes to the staff. But from the personnel standpoint, I feel real good about what they're doing. And then that got me to thinking, because he casually mentioned that he thought Florida State would beat Alabama. And I know Alabama comes with a certain level of cachet that no other school playing college football has currently. Just because on an annual basis, they have the best players. They recruit the best players more consistently than anybody else in the country. They have a bevy of five-star players waiting in the wings so that when some leave, others soon step in. And that's why the drop-off is not nearly as significant as it is at other schools, namely every other school not named Alabama. But obviously they can be beaten. Clemson just beat them. And we've seen year after year they go through the season, and I know sometimes it's a lot later than others, but they suffer a loss. They're not unbeatable. It happens all the time. And yet I feel like that seems like too big a mountain to climb. And then I started to maybe get a little bit too much inside my head here for March, but I was driving away after leaving Publix and having that casual conversation with the fine fellow who listens to this program. And I thought, why do I feel that way? Why do I feel like it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to get our ass beat by Alabama? Let's delve into that a little bit more. Why do I think that is? And I think it's because Alabama's really good, and I think it's because our offensive line won't be able to block them. And now that I think about that, I think, well, damn it, man. This is a unique offseason. It's unlike many others that we've had in the past, because in the past we've talked about the record. And you and I have had this conversation before. You go home, you visit relatives, you see family, you go up to Atlanta to visit relatives, whatever it might be. The question is, what's the record? They ask you, just like mine asks me, what do you think Florida State's going to do this year? Look at their schedule. You think they're going to go 12-1 or 11-1? They're going to win the ACC? What are they going to do? This year it's really more about are you going to beat Alabama? And only, really, are you going to beat Alabama? It's not about almost anything else yet. There's no talk of playoff and winning the ACC and any of the other stuff that we talked about a year ago. A year ago, let's set the tone here again. A year ago, the offseason was an awful lot about how you came out the box against Ole Miss in Orlando, and that was cool. But it was also about whether or not you were going to be able to beat Clemson later on. Could you go back to the playoff? How would your quarterback do? A lot of questions about the season in its totality. This is solely, to me, about the first game of the year against Alabama.
It wasn't just the talking points in the show where I can remember saying you get 6-1 out of that first stretch before your bye week. And
right,
then,
we said that a lot. We said
everything.
You still have an opportunity to get to where you want to go.
It was also in conversations. We would talk about the schedule. Now, the Clemson game was the centerpiece if you talked about a game, because I can remember us saying, too, and a lot of people.
You don't think it was the Ole Miss game? I thought it was the Ole Miss game.
I thought it was the Clemson game, especially the ACC meetings. We were talking about how the ACC was in the spotlight finally.
But in the ACC meetings, it's going to be about an ACC game. You don't think as a whole we were thinking about the Ole Miss game?
I think, sure. I mean, I was thinking about we better be ready for Ole Miss, and it's cool that we did play the spring game down there, so they'll be in somewhat familiar surroundings, and that was kind of a nice move. And it's Francois' first start, and good Lord, those storylines were beat to death with the Jameis parallels with DeAndre Francois. But I can remember thinking and saying aloud that Florida State-Clemson on a Saturday night, is going to be the game of the season.
It did pretty much live up to that.
It lived up to the hype, but it just didn't, in terms of the actual play for 60 minutes and the entertainment value of the game, but it didn't have the same juice because we had gotten blown out by Louisville, so we didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
You don't have a chance here. Whatever your ranking is, that's what it is for 1 week, and the preseason hype is going to be real. You can't disappoint. You don't have a chance to. There's no strike that you can put on your own record before you face Alabama. And it's the centerpiece of all discussions right now. Are you ready? Are we going to be ready for them?
All right, so let's get to this, though. Again, do you think I was wrong or the guy was right or something in between? What I was thinking was that it was a little bit not absurd. That's wrong. I'm being Corey Clark here over the top. I thought it was odd that he casually mentioned that he thought Florida State would win that game. I'm going to throw it out there to our listeners, to Florida State fans and alumni and supporters, although we have listeners from many different demographics that don't care about Florida State at all, etc. College football fans in general, I'll invite them to, weigh in. And you can hashtag me a-hole. Now, that said, I don't think anybody's going to pick Florida State to win that game. I think that the vast majority of the talking heads and the vast majority of college football fans, and dare I say a very large percentage of even Florida State fans, are going to think, or are of the mindset already, that Alabama is going to beat Florida State, and not just probably beat Florida State, but beat Florida State in a convincing way. When I say that, I don't mean 56-3, but I mean, 34-17, 38-20.
I'm bristling at that notion about a convincing win. I think it's going to be a great game, but I can understand where the national talking heads are going to come from because that's an angry Alabama program. Nick Saban is pissed.
Yeah, and he was getting testy already yesterday, in fact. It's March. and I'm not trying to create fodder where there's none, it really did strike me as I talked to that guy that I bet he's one of the only guys I know. Now, you have your zealots. You have those that are always of the mindset that it's like when you speak facts to somebody and then it's as if they're impervious to facts. They just, no. Well, you're wrong, even when you tell them. So there are those folks. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about people that are pretty level-headed about their team and reasonable with expectations. I'm not trying to speak about Florida State as if it's an also-ran program. They've got elite-level players on that defense, and they've got depth, and they've got speed, and they have arguably the best player in the country on that defense that's going into this game. So they're equipped to do something about it. I have bigger questions about the offense, and they lie directly with an offensive line that's reconfigured going against an Alabama defense that, frankly, every year features studs across that front line. And we struggle to block people that have far less talent than Alabama.
Agreed. I would say, though, that the reason I think it's not necessarily going to be a convincing win in this moment on March 23rd.
You mean for Alabama?
For Alabama. Is because that offense is a bit of a wreck, too. And the quarterback is not somebody that has been proven yet that you can trust.
No, he's a guy that runs the ball.
Exactly. And
frequently misses wide open people.
I honestly, broken record from last year, but even it did kind of pan out that way. I believe our defensive front's one of the best in the country this year. I mean, Noddy coming back is massively important to what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, I think from a playing it out in my head standpoint right now, I think it's a sloppy game. I think it's first game of the year. Offenses look disjointed. It's low scoring into the second half, and it's anybody's game at that point. What I worry about is being worn down over time because I saw what Bo did in the national title game, Scarborough, and if he doesn't get hurt on that play where he runs over, the white linebacker.
Every one of Clemson's defenders, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He gets hurt on that. I mean, Alabama's not losing that game. That changed the tenor of everything because that guy had an aura about him that night that he was not going to be stopped.
Well, also, by and large, the only reason we believed Clemson could, in fact, beat Alabama, and I think both said that we thought they would, was because Clemson had a special quarterback, a really good college quarterback. And Deshaun is what he almost did it the year before. But that's what it takes, right? In our minds, we're thinking it takes somebody like that. Well, listen, for a freshman, I really like DeAndre, but he's not in the caliber of quarterback that Jameis or Watson was.
There's a whole lot of moving parts on offense.
Right.
You have stars that you know about, but, how ready are the receivers? There's an inconsistency problem seemingly every year with guys that have been here for 2 and 3 years in the system, and now you're going to usher in a bunch of starters without a veteran like a Travis Rudolph to be there and help you out. And then you look at the offensive line. How exactly is that going to be comprised? We don't know yet. You got a brand new tailback that you're breaking in. His name is not Dalvin Cook, even if he has all the hype of a Cam Akers. And maybe if Cam gets 15, 20 touches a game, it can be some sort of announcement to the world that we got ourselves another one. But that's hard to predict against Alabama. And then you got DeAndre Francois, who played really well for a redshirt freshman and was really, really, really tough. I'm talking legendary tough already in one season at Florida State, but did have inconsistencies, and you have to be ready to play at the highest caliber. Look at what Alabama did to USC to start last season.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, I guess why I asked the question is exactly that. Francois, there's no questioning Francois' toughness. He was exceptionally tough. And when he was good, he was good. He missed too many open receivers, way too many open receivers. That can't happen this year, but in fairness, I think it's fair to suggest that he'll take a step forward as guys do in their second year.
Human redshirt freshman, yeah.
Yeah, I would think that he would absolutely do that. And then secondarily, I would think it will be also very, very interesting to see if Jimbo will help him out. As a college quarterback, does he, his hero, Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher's guy, allowed for Alabama's offense to be one that featured a running quarterback and to adapt and do things that Saban has described as bad for football and things that he doesn't like, things that obviously have nothing to do with preparing a quarterback to play in the National Football League. But he embraced it, and he would run his quarterback, and he'd often run him a ton, and not just rollouts. Designed runs for the quarterback. The evolution of Jimbo Fisher, who has all of these plays in his playbook, a guy that at various times in his career has gone to some very college-style calling of plays. We saw it with EJ against Clemson one year. We've seen it in certain games. So it's not what he loves to do, but I'm wondering, will he choose to do it? Because if he's going to, he's got a guy. It's this guy. It's DeAndre Francois.
The whole thing is, how much does he weigh in his mind the safety net? The idea of you're coaching to a season too, and as much as it would hurt you to lose this game personally, it's not the end of your season. And if you get DeAndre hurt trying to go crazy and run him 15, 20 times, I know you can't look down.
Yeah, and Jimbo doesn't do that, and I'm glad he doesn't do that. I just don't think you can play that way. I think you got to just play the game and give yourself a chance to win the game. And if what gives you the best chance to win the game is to run your quarterback instead of have him sit back there in the pocket getting ready to get killed as he did all of last year with a makeshift offensive line or at least a group that's reconfigured going against Alabama's defense, man, run his ass.
You got to look at the two deep at some point, though. I mean, if Bailey Hockman is our 2 or Cosentino is our 2.
He could just as easily get hurt sitting back there getting blindsided with one of the ribs like he did all of last year.
Play some Wildcat with Cam Akers for a few weeks until DeAndre is right. The reason I have a little bit of hope here is, again, yes, he's facing the mentor. I mean, and the idea that Alabama has
and he doesn't want to get embarrassed.
No.
And
And so, therefore, he'll call whatever game he's got to call in order to win the game. I believe that. But also, the advantage that Alabama has with quality control coaches is mitigated by the offseason. It just is.
Yeah.
We can do all the advanced scouting we want. If we had to catch them a week after we play Miami or a week after we play an ACC opponent with a little bit of potence to what they bring to the table, then in the flow of that week, they've already been preparing for you. You're screwed. But to start out the year, all right, at least we're on even footing from that in that department where we can see what Alabama ran last year on offense. I know they have a new coordinator. They're playing coordinator carousel over there. But we've seen what they run with the kid that's going to be a quarterback. So you have all that kind of film, and you can prepare with any tendencies you need to find before the season starts.
Before the end of the hour, back to the original question. Do you think I'm right? Okay, well, I asked 2 questions, but let's go to this one first. Do you think that I'm right when I say upwards of 90% of the people who either follow college football, work within the college football world, covering it, fans, people on message boards, graduates, you name it, think that Alabama's going to win this game?
Yes.
That overwhelmingly Alabama, including amongst Florida State fans, is the pick here. Overwhelmingly.
I don't know about the second part. National media types,
oh,
absolutely.
Without question, national media, yeah.
Yes.
And that's not even a slight.
I think a majority of Florida State fans would pick Alabama if they were being honest. If it was a blind draw. And he said, all right, nobody knows that you picked him. Just be honest with me. Who you think's got this game?
You know how sometimes
majority of Knowles fans would pick Alabama.
We have fun with this sometimes because there's a field of things. And in March, you can have just a field of things and say, well, this is kind of where my mindset is right now, where my head's at right now, and allow for the idea that it's going to shift, it's going to change once they really get into practice and once you get more information about some of the new guys and just how consistent certain guys have been at practice, et cetera. And you begin to hear actual quotes from Jimbo Fisher. And we go to the ACC meetings and have conversations with others who follow this league closely and follow the teams closely. And we have a chance to reach out to people covering Alabama, of which we're close to a couple folks. We find out about them. It can all change. But as we sit here in March, it's just March. Man, I feel like it's like a slam dunk, like a no-brainer that people are thinking, oh, well, Alabama's going to win that game. Doesn't mean Florida State can't go on to have a good year and be one of the better teams in college football, but that if you're just talking about that game, oh, Alabama, pretty easily.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
full bar serving more than 75 beers, plus wine and liquors. So if you're feeling the madness, Miller's Ale House is the place for you. Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway, a real good place to catch a good time.
Hey, Wally Woodham here. In 1974, I set the national high school passing record at Leon High with 3,560 yards.
Jimmy Jordan here. Wally, I broke your passing record at Leon the very next year.
Well, Jimmy, in our 3 years together at FSU, I threw for 22 touchdown passes.
Wally, that's pretty good, but I had 39.
Well, Jimmy, look at the deal I got at AAA Transmission.
That's a pretty good deal, Wally. At least your car's a winner.
Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop in at AAA Transmission and ask for owner Tim Pridgeon, servicing Tallahassee for over 30 years. AAA Transmission, 1023 North Monroe Street, or call them at 222-2532.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, we keep it real, especially when talking about our honestly awesome food. To convey that, let's play two truths and a lie. Moe's handcrafted guac is A, made daily with Hass avocados. B, hard to say backwards. C, inspired by 6th century guacamoleans. Okay, we stink at lying. When we say something, it's true in every restaurant. So come into Moe's Southwest Grill for some honestly awesome food, like a burrito bowl created with our 20-plus fresh ingredients.
With 6 locally owned Tallahassee locations, there's always a Moe's close by.
It's the Hyundai Spring Cleaning Sales Event. The best way to buy is the Werner way. We monitor our competition's website, TV, and radio ads to make sure you get the best price. We shop North Florida and South Georgia so you don't have to. Drive a great-looking 2017 Hyundai Elantra for $169 per month for 36 months with $19.99 due at lease signing. You get Hyundai Assurance with America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Why shop anywhere else? WernerHyundai.com. Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 5th.
They're back. 1 quart perennials, 4 for just $10. Now at the Home Depot. Perennials come back every spring. That's what they do. And these do it beautifully. They're healthy, happy, and selected for your region. So they're bred to thrive. Let them put down some roots and stay a while in your garden. Come next spring, they'll return the favor. Get a fresh take on spring with 1 quart perennials, 4 for just $10. Now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Selection varies by store while supplies last.
Attention Rockheads, ESPN Tallahassee wants to hook you up for Welcome to Rockville, April 29th and 30th in Jacksonville. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com right now for the Welcome to Rockville ticket giveaway. Click on the front page banner to fill out our registration form. And every Friday, we'll be unloading 2 weekend passes for a lucky winner and a friend. A $200 savings from us to you. Winners will be announced every Friday afternoon in the 5 o'clock hour. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com and sign up today. Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. March Madness updates brought to you by Napleton Infinity, an official partner of NCAA men's basketball.
With your Napleton Infinity March Madness update, I'm Tom Lang. First it was Dwayne Bacon, then it was Xavier Rathan-Mayes. XRM announces today on social media that his career with Florida State is over. It spanned 3 seasons on the court for Florida State. He had to sit out his first year in Tallahassee, and it included an NCAA tournament berth this year as the Noles finish in second place in the ACC. Tonight, the NCAA tournament returns to the court as night 1 of the Sweet 16 will be underway. Remember that 97.9 ESPN Radio is your home for all the March Madness action through the championship game, thanks to our partners at Westwood One. First up tonight, it's a 7-3 battle at 7:09 p.m. as the red-hot Michigan Wolverines play 3-seed Oregon in Kansas City. TV coverage on CBS. At 7:39 p.m. from San Jose, California, 4-seed West Virginia battles top-seeded Gonzaga in West Bracket action. You can find the game on TBS. The first of 2 nightcaps follows Wolverines and Ducks as top-seeded Kansas takes on Purdue. Then it's number 11 seed Xavier taking on 2-seed Arizona. Xavier, by the way, a 7 to 8 point underdog, depending upon the outlet you find in Vegas. This has been your Napleton Infinity March Madness update.
March Madness on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Napleton Infinity. Visit them at 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast or call 1-800-862-0406. Infinity. Empower the drive. Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming. Not today, you don't. It's not streaming at all. Just no chance at all to listen to that streaming, even if you desperately wanted to. At least not that way. But there are other ways. You could watch us on YouTube. That's streaming just fine. Go to YouTube. Some would say it's a conspiracy that in our efforts to push the new YouTube thing, we have disabled our own stream.
I wish it was, because then I would be able to use the internet on this here computer right in front of me.
But instead, no internet for you,
So
huh?
I have to
And
pull it
how
up on my
helpless does
phone.
one feel when they cannot access the internet?
Well, I can. It's just on my phone, and that's really
Yeah.
tedious. When you
Feeble.
try to pull up quick points and make sure that
Facts
things are in
right.
order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You can email the show if you like. That's working. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. You can find me on Twitter at JCameron Show. You could listen most days on the WTSM app. And like I said, the YouTube stream, if you type in ESPN Tallahassee, boom, just like that. And the TuneIn radio app works too. But I always tell you, just get the WTSM app now.
When the stream works, that will work. But hey,
Yeah.
just go to the website, click the Listen Live button, you're A-okay.
That's working.
Yes,
Because
that'll
it's hooked
take
to the
you
YouTube. See what we did there? Again, you'd think it was a conspiracy. All right, well, most people think I'm right. We're going to get killed by Alabama. How's that for the open? Yep, I'm right. Alabama's going to wipe the field with us.
Oh, jeez. Really? On the heels of the weekend that we had and the big two sports not named football?
That weekend is many months from now, buddy. You got time to mentally prepare yourself. It's like every year when we play Miami, I always tell them to stretch. You know, that they got plenty of time to kind of ready themselves for yet another year of disappointment and Florida State having their way. So, you know, as we move inexorably towards Bohica Platinum variety, they've got time. Lots of time. Loosen up. Whereas, you know, this is only March. We've got time to mentally prepare ourselves to go through the mental gymnastics of what that will feel like, right? What's that most unfortunate result? I'm talking about the loss, Tom. I'm talking about the loss. Actually, I'm not going to push that because I do realize the way I feel today, or the way that most people feel today, is going to change a lot in the months to come. Right now, all I'm going to do is sit back and think, man, it's going to be fun to watch basketball tonight. Even though my team is no longer in the tournament, I have successfully rebounded from that loss, and I still care about the Sweet 16. I still care to watch these games. I'm still buoyed by last night's victory in the WBC, and we've got a legitimate scrimmage coming up, so some real news will be coming out of Florida State's spring football practice. We're starting to get into some meat and potato stuff, Tom. It's going to be okay.
That use of rebounded was awful, sir. That pun.
You didn't like that?
You said you rebounded.
Yeah, I know. I got it.
That's.
I kept going. I didn't draw attention to it.
That was a brick.
It wasn't. I rebounded nicely. It was well done. XRM is calling it a day, at least at Florida State, to pursue his dream of making it in the NBA. And I hope he does. I've come a long way. This is more about me than you, X. I've come a long way in dealing with you. You don't even know who I am. That's probably good for both of us. But I hope you make it, because there was a long stretch in time where I really held animosity towards you. Your play, your demeanor, your loser's limp after missed shots, your uncanny ability to play outside the offense early in a game, take it over in a way that was completely unnecessary, your inability to make crucial free throws pretty much your whole career. All of those things were things that I held against you and with great resentment. But later on, I learned to adapt to the things you did do well, and your willingness to be selfless, to give up more of your game in the effort to improve the team and give the ball to better players. And I was forever grateful that you were willing to do that and able to do that. And while this may sound very much like a backhanded compliment,
oh yeah,
I am saying best of luck to you today, XRM, as you pursue your dreams.
It's a two-handed backhander.
You think so?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I think
that was dripping with remnants of absolute and utter disdain.
I didn't mean it to.
It is dripping.
I didn't mean it to.
Continues. It's puddling on the counter.
I didn't mean it to. I seriously did, and I think I've said it straight-faced numerous times, tongue not firmly planted in cheek, but truthfully said that I did appreciate his willingness and ability to change his game. Well, he didn't have a choice. They told him to, but it's easier said than done. That I will admit. And he did successfully do that. He actually had a very good season this year. And there were stretches this year where he really had made the transformation complete. And I was surprised. Because I didn't give him much of a chance to do that. I didn't see that in him prior to this season. He did it some last, but he really did it this year. And the team benefited from it. It's one of the reasons they won 26 games, and that is sincere. It is. It's one of the reasons they won 26 games. So I do hope he does well. It's all relative, this level of frustration that I feel with certain players or even disdain that you may describe. Because if a guy's a bad guy and he represents the university poorly, well, that's a different level of disgust that I have. And that frustrates me, and I'll talk about those guys seemingly with a little bit of anger in my voice and sometimes almost like I'm wishing something bad happens to that person. I don't like to see bad guys do well. I'll admit it, I don't. But if you're not a bad guy, you just do something that's maddening, like E.J. Manuel. Well, I mean, I'm not rooting for bad things to happen to you. I'd like you to move on and no longer be my quarterback, but it doesn't mean that I wish something against you. And I think X falls in that category.
I absolutely love the fact that your mind went right there to E.J. Manuel. When you're trying to associate those feelings of not a bad guy.
Not a bad guy.
In fact, EJ
great
was,
representation
yes.
of the university, yeah.
However.
But,
name recognition. If I had to think of another, EJ Manuel would be an example, I don't know why that just flew out of nowhere and it popped into my mind.
I think it always does. Yeah, I think it always does. Well, we know people like that in our everyday life, too, that aren't bad guys. Meanwhile, they're not bad representations of humanity. They just have a few flaws that really make it tough.
Well, they just clash with our personalities and our flaws because we have them too.
Oh, we have tons of them. They're just far less annoying than EJ's flaws or that person's. It's one of those.
Good Christmas.
Oh, man. No, I think the cherry on top for all of my EJ Manuel laments are the fact that anytime I'm talking about a guy who's not a bad guy, who did his best and was trying to win games and be a good teammate and all those things, but had certain things that they lacked, is when they did something specific, unique to them that was really dumb. So EJ's whippity-doo spin, lose us 15 yards instead of 5, was very unique to him. I never saw anybody else do that thing as frequently with as many disastrous results and then still choose to do it again and again and again as much as EJ. And X very much has that trait. Am I right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I mean. When
You're not wrong, Jeff.
I'm
You're
just an a-hole.
Abrasive about it.
Yeah. So when you do something, which, okay, look, you're right. We do all have weaknesses. I got tons of them. But if it causes, if there are reverberations, if there are things that fall apart all
As in
around,
my Saturday is ruined because you couldn't hold on to the ball in the final 20 seconds of the game. You go out of control, play hero ball.
Time and again.
It bounces off your ankle bone.
That's right.
Out of bounds.
Over and over again when the whole world is yelling, pass the basketball. Yes, that drives me nuts. And if you do it again and again and again and again, well, as you can imagine, Miami's tired of losing to Florida State.
If you're rolling out right up at Raleigh and this is a play call that has no wrong answer, but you find a wrong answer and not really take us out of field goal range.
That's right.
Not really.
But pretty close. At least make it a question mark.
But you took us far enough away from the end zone
where he could then compound the problem by making a mistake.
The guy on the sideline, it was in the pucker range, and he said, let's punt. Let's trust the defense. We're going to trust the defense. Special teams.
In fairness, I mean, there's like 18 fourth down conversions on balls that should have been picked off on that drive. But
yeah, they would have been all for naught if
it wouldn't matter because Dustin would have made
split the uprights.
Goldenrod.
That's what you guys called him back in the day.
I know. I forgot we called him Goldenrod. Oh,
before a great toe, there was Goldenrod.
Oh, Goldenrod was one of our better ones. That was good.
That was headlines, I believe, you guys.
Here comes old Goldenrod out there.
Did Corey come up with that? I think he did.
Corey never had that guy, Dustin Hopkins has never had a greater fan in his life than Corey Clark. But, Yeah, so did I just sour the moment for X? Did I just now
We're
on
going
a
to
day
lose
where
to Bama convincingly. XRM sucks. EJ Manuel was awful.
I did not say that. I did not say XRM sucks, and I did not say that EJ was awful. He just did some annoying things, and those traits really, really bothered me. And now I want to get to the Sweet 16, and I want to talk about the winners, and I want to bet you, and I want to continue to celebrate that WBC win last night. I want to focus in on how soon it will be Masters Week. Oh, we've got so many things, buddy.
That's upon us, man.
So many things to be celebrating right now.
Yeah, 2 weeks from today, first round coverage.
Hey, I'm sorry, XRM. It was not my intent to go off the rails there and sour a great day in which you gave thanks to Florida State University, its coaches, and your teammates.
You did a lot of great things today, but I just can't forget that moment. You know, that moment, and it's a replay. No, it's just, the final 20 seconds. I just keep on thinking about that, and then we snowball downhill, and it turns into a big deal when it's not supposed to be, because you're saying all the right things, and mostly you did the right things this year. Your assist-to-turnover ratio was outstanding, and you hit some big shots for us.
Had a much better year, yeah.
Great second half against Duke here in Tallahassee. Won us that game.
Well, we had a lot of good second halves at home. Lots of people helped out there. But yeah. No, what
30 points in 3 minutes against Miami your freshman year, like the one where he actually played.
Well, we lost the game. It didn't make a damn bit of difference. We were losing by a gazillion points. Who cares?
Cool at the
time. He was great at that. You're adding things that make me mad now.
I tried. It was an honest attempt.
I can't do it. I hope he has success. There, we're going to end it at that.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100. Quickly, if you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
March Madness. It's a time when the best of the best come out to play. And you can experience that same level of performance at your local Infiniti retailer. Starting with the turbocharged Infiniti Q50 sedan with impressive technology like available predictive forward collision warning and direct adaptive steering. And the Infiniti QX60 crossover is definitely up for the challenge, easily seating 7 so you can bring the whole team. Or experience true power in the full-size Infiniti QX80 with its V8 engine and luxurious interior. It's that time of year again. Time for the best of the best. Visit Napleton Infiniti today and lease the Q50 for $319 a month for 39 months. $24.99 initial payment, tax, title, license, and options extra. Call 1-800-862-0406 for details. Offer ends 3/31/17. Infiniti is an official partner of NCAA men's basketball. NCAA and March Madness are registered trademarks of the National Collegiate Athletic Association. Infiniti. Empower the drive.
Everyone's going naked this March Madness. Hooters is the place to be to cheer on your favorite team. All-you-can-eat wings to tip off the big tourney the week of March 13th. Did I mention Hooters has fish? All-you-can-eat fish 4 straight Fridays starting March 17th. Happy hour 4 to 6 Monday through Friday along with half-price apps. What about Wings Day Wednesday? Bottomless, boneless wings and fries. And remember, no great story ever started over breadsticks. Hooters makes you happy. 2000 North Monroe Street. Online at Hooters.com or call them at 385-2004.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. It's Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, our words are as real as our ingredients, which we call honestly awesome food. To illustrate that, let's play 2 truths and a lie. Moe's Pico de Gallo is A, made fresh daily. B, a good name for a conquistador. C, the fourth amigo. Okay, we stink at lying. When we say something, it's true in every restaurant. So come into Moe's Southwest Grill for some honestly awesome food, like a burrito bowl created with our 20-plus fresh ingredients.
With 6 locally owned Tallahassee locations, there's always a Moe's close by.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Killearn Country Club is now offering Discovery membership. Jeff, what is this Discovery membership you're speaking of? During the month of March, you can purchase a 60-day term membership that will be good for the months of April and May, after which you can commit to a full membership at Killearn Country Club. If you commit by June 15th, your 60-day membership fee will serve as your enrollment fee. In other words, after your 60-day Discovery membership, you can join Killearn Country Club, and there's no upfront money due at contract signing. There is no better way to experience the many benefits of Killearn Country Club membership. You and your family will enjoy full access to the beautiful championship golf course, driving range, tennis facilities, fitness center, swimming pool, dining room, clubhouse facilities, and social events. This is a limited offer, so call Lori Wilkie today at 893-2186, extension 145, to take advantage of this fantastic offer. Again, Lori Wilkie at 893-2186, extension 145.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. JCS at 97.9 ESPNradio.com. Read away, fire away, email. Appreciate the input always. On Twitter at J Cameron Show. And if you're struggling with the stream, you can't hear me saying this, but for those driving about, maybe we're struggling earlier and wondering, just try YouTube. We got you right now on YouTube. Actually, for all the angst that I've expressed here about the fact that our stream's been down today, it is cool to have something else to rely upon now to be able to link it to YouTube, including if you go to our website, you can listen in. Just clicking the listen live because it's linked to the YouTube feed. So we're getting there, man. Getting better.
A unique challenge, but a unique solution in this case. It is nice to have a fail-safe feed. And it comes in, man, the delay is actually shorter than the actual app or live streaming on audio. The delay is probably about 20 seconds shorter, which is pretty cool.
It is cool. And if you only listen to that last segment, perhaps you're thinking to yourself, man, Cameron's really negative today. I don't think so. I've been positive today, by and large, outside of just admitting that I feel like, we're going to lose to Alabama and that I wasn't devastated by XRM moving on. That's just
calmer than you are.
Just not devastated. This story and these stories I always like. Peru law enforcement. Anything that begins with Peru law enforcement, it's going to be good. Seized 1,417 kilos of cocaine, much of it adorned with logos that bear the photo and name of the Barcelona star Lionel Messi. The haul was found wrapped in containers of squid fillets and destined for Belgium. Man, drug dealers are amazing. I don't mean that as I'm in awe way, like that's really cool, but you're really, really resourceful. The drugs were worth an estimated $85 million in street value. $85 million wrapped up in squid. I didn't know that many people ate squid. That's really what I take from this story. I thought about this. I don't care about the drugs. I'm thinking about the fact that there was enough squid being ordered by people in Belgium as to be able to stuff 1,417 kilos of cocaine in it.
I think it's time we talk about your future and diversifying your portfolio. How about squid? There's a company
Trust
in Belgium.
me, you want squid.
There's a company in Belgium. They trade over here in the States. You want to get in on this. The market for squid in Belgium is crazy.
Unimaginable even. Many packages of the drugs bore Messi's likeness and name, while the rest was wrapped in black packaging with a logo saying King, with a likeness of the King of Spain. A spokesperson for the Peruvian National Police Anti-Drugs Office, Durando, said that no one has been arrested or detained yet.
You're getting good ahead of probables. That's soon, buddy.
Oh, that is soon, man. The summer wind. Most of the 1,288 packages of cocaine. That's a lot. I'm just sitting around. How laborious. Oh, I need another Messi. 1,288 packages of cocaine were camouflaged as squid fillets and had a label that said Messi, along with a picture of the Argentine player, as we said, Messi wearing the shirt of the Spanish club Barcelona. The logos are used to guarantee the purity of the drugs by the gangs that traffic them, the officials said, as well as guaranteeing that drugs, which are packaged in bricks, remain sealed. So if you get a brick of Messi squid, you've got a pure bout of cocaine. And 1,000, and the picture is online, you can see this. The shipment was found over the weekend after arriving in Lima, headed west with a final destination of Callao. This is the second major police intervention this year in which Messi and his face and that sticker have been found. Not that Messi's doing anything wrong, because that would really be obvious. I put a face, my face, on the cocaine I'm shipping. That'd be dumb. But in January, Peruvian police found...
Brilliant. They'd never consider that I would do that.
Who would do such a thing? In January, Peruvian police found more than 4,508 pounds of cocaine, $174 million in street value, hidden in packages of asparagus. This is a wonderful trend. Nothing to see here, Bob, just lots of asparagus. Let me go on my way. That seems to be an inordinate amount of asparagus, John. I'd like to take a look in that there asparagus. It's just asparagus. Let's move it along. People love asparagus, and they need to get theirs in a timely fashion. They don't love squid. Open the box. The group arrested was part of an international drug trafficking network that shipped cocaine to European countries. That according to Reuters. Peru is believed to rival Colombia now as the world's largest producer of cocoa leaves from which cocaine is made. And Durando officials say they believe cartels from Mexico operate in their country and use their distribution networks to send the drugs to Europe and the United States under the guise of being squid fillets.
I see.
Who was the guy that said, I'm telling you, those folks in Belgium, they love the hell out of some squid. We could use that to our benefit. That's a enterprising guy. That's
awfully crafty.
Yeah.
He's the Gus Fring of European distribution.
I mean, freaking squid, man. Yes, for years on this here show, we did indeed talk about my man Waylon at the Live Oak Way Station and his ability to look at them there tomatoes and find cocaine. But that made more sense to me. Like, okay, there were some packages of cocaine or stolen televisions or things like that underneath, tomatoes and watermelon and stuff like that at the Live Oak Way Station, and Waylon was having none of it. But this is amazing. $85 million worth of cocaine with Lionel Messi on the bricks, wrapped in containers of squid fillets. We have graduated to all new levels here. This is fantastic.
Now, I'm sorry. This is a little gap in my knowledge of the Jeff Cameron Show history.
You don't know about Waylon?
No, I don't know about
All right, so there's a way station in Live Oak. You've driven past it.
Oh,
okay,
of course.
It's a way station, and there's a guy, and I gave him the name Waylon because he's in Live Oak. Yeah.
So one of the,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, anyhow, this dude caught, in the span of like 2 years, he must have caught 6 or 7 deliveries of stolen goods. Sometimes it was drugs, sometimes it was stolen flat-screen televisions, and it was always in produce. And every time I read the story, I was like, this guy, old Eagle Eye Waylon, is having none of it. Like the average inspectors at that weigh station are like, you're good here, just nothing but tomatoes and watermelon. And Waylon would go, I don't like the way them tomatoes look. Why don't you step out the truck, Steve? Waylon, I'm fine. I got to get these tomatoes to Plant City as soon as possible. That may be. Let's take a look inside that box of yours. I'm sure they're just tomatoes.
Offer a fresh set of eyes to that circumstance and why Waylon was so good. Perhaps Waylon was still driving his 1980s, I don't know what you would call it, compact car.
Yeah.
And the other inspectors, they upped it to a midsize, and it was of the current decade. And maybe Waylon was thinking, everybody around here seems to be driving a nicer car.
I've just got this same old Corolla. I don't even like Corollas.
Not even the 90s one.
No, 84. My Corolla is slow.
Something's afoot here at the Live Oak Way Station.
Let me see them tomatoes, Steve. Right now. And Paul, why did you let them daters go right past you?
Looking at you, Paul.
Mm-hmm. And how is it that Tex has a brand new 60-inch flat screen, and so do you, Steve? All from last week. I know what we make here. I'm in an 84 Corolla. I don't know, but all I do know is that the folks that operate there in Belgium love squid fillets. And the Peruvian law enforcement agency is not having it. They see squid fillets adorned with Messi, and they know 1,417 kilos of cocaine. Go look at that picture. It's amazing.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Now at the Home Depot. Perennials come back every spring. That's what they do. And these do it beautifully. They're healthy, happy, and selected for your region, so they're bred to thrive. Let them put down some roots and stay a while in your garden. Come next spring, they'll return the favor. Get a fresh take on spring with 1 quart perennials, 4 for just $10. Now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Selection varies by store while supplies last.
The madness is coming to the corner pocket.
They're in trouble. Desperation. Yes!
Choose the place with Tallahassee's best TVs. The Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall. Made for March Madness. 8 50-inch crystal clear flat screens. You won't miss a second of the action. Corner Pocket's your headquarters for the most watched sporting event in America.
For the win! Good! A miracle!
Delicious food, the best drink specials. Connect to their free Wi-Fi and keep up with your bracket. From the opening tip to the cutting of the nets. Come see why Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Oh, my goodness!
Join us for 8 days of nonstop tennis as the rising stars of the USTA Pro Circuit battle for a main draw wildcard into the French Open. It's the 18th annual Tallahassee Tennis Challenger, April 22nd through the 29th at the Forest Meadows Tennis Complex. Proceeds benefit the Wagner Neurointensive Care Unit at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. Sponsored by the Florida Lottery, Tallahassee Democrat, the City of Tallahassee, Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, 850 Business Magazine, and Comcast.
Ready to wind down after a long day? McGowan's Hops and Grapes, your neighborhood bar with an upscale and creative menu designed for the customer to sit, share, and relax. They have 43 craft beer taps with growlers to go, 32 and 64 ounces. Weekly wine specials to choose from with over 75 wines, and more than 35 are served by the glass. A menu designed to share with friends, shareables, unique flatbreads, and sandwiches. Not your typical bar food. The To-Go app is coming next month. McGowan's Hops and Grapes, located at Bannerman 3 Crossing. Online at beerwinefun.com or call them 999-8505.
Get to JCPenney's Friends and Family Sale starting this Thursday and spring into savings. Save big on spring must-haves like select fashion tops just $14.99 or slip into select trendy spring sandals only $19.99. Want to stack on even more savings? Take an extra 30% off with your JCPenney credit card and coupon on select items throughout the store and at jcp.com. It's JCPenney's Friends and Family Sale ends Sunday. That's getting your pennies worth. JCPenney. Valid 3/23 to 3/26. Extra 30% off subject to credit approval. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for coupon details.
You're at Lowe's buying a new washer and dryer. You're at Lowe's buying a new washer and dryer because your kids are growing. And because your kids are growing, their clothes are growing. But your old washer and dryer are not. Luckily, Lowe's has free local delivery on appliances $396 or more, plus a 30-day satisfaction guarantee on all new major appliances. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's. Guarantee based on refund and price match policies. More fees may apply. U.S. only. See store for details.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This Day in Sports History, March 23rd, 1994. Wayne Gretzky scored his record-breaking 802nd career NHL goal, surpassing his childhood hero Gordie Howe, whose record stood for almost 15 years. In the second period of a game against the Vancouver Canucks, Gretzky received a cross-ice pass and buried it for the record-breaking goal.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
March Madness updates brought to you by Napleton Infinity, an official partner of NCAA men's basketball.
With your Napleton Infinity March Madness update, I'm Tom Lang. First, it was Dwayne Bacon, then it was Xavier Rathan-Mayes. XRM announces today on social media that his career with Florida State is over. It spanned 3 seasons on the court for Florida State. He had to sit out his first year in Tallahassee, and it included an NCAA tournament berth this year as the Noles finish in second place in the ACC. Tonight, the NCAA tournament returns to the court as night 1 of the Sweet 16 will be underway. Remember that 97.9 ESPN Radio is your home for all the March Madness action through the championship game, thanks to our partners at Westwood One. First up tonight, it's a 7-3 battle at 7:09 p.m. as the red-hot Michigan Wolverines play 3-seed Oregon in Kansas City. TV coverage on CBS. At 7:39 p.m. from San Jose, California, 4-seed West Virginia battles top-seeded Gonzaga in West Bracket action. You can find the game on TBS. The first of 2 nightcaps follows Wolverines and Ducks as top-seeded Kansas takes on Purdue. Then it's number 11 seed Xavier taking on 2-seed Arizona. Xavier, by the way, a 7 to 8 point underdog, depending upon the outlet you find in Vegas. This has been your Napleton Infinity March Madness update.
March Madness on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Napleton Infinity. Visit them at 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast or call 1-800-862-0406. Infinity. Empower the drive. Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. I found this kind of interesting. I want to get your thoughts on this. Back to Florida State football for a second. I know tonight's basketball. We'll talk about basketball tomorrow when we have the results. I'm not going to preview all of these games. Sweat said this, Josh Sweat, defensive end, fond of loafing frequently. Can be really good and dominate games when he cares. That's my assessment. Quote, when it really mattered, we didn't pull through in some of the things. I don't know what the hell that means. It started in practice, bad habits. And that's where I think it's easy to say it, but we really need to work on those things. That just kind of aggravates the hell out of me, to be honest with you. There's no way that I don't know, we don't get to watch practice. But Brad Lawing doesn't strike me as a guy that would be okay with you just developing bad habits and not trying real hard and not being focused on getting better every week.
No, and honestly, the book on loafs, you've used the term before.
Yeah.
Was out before the season even started.
That's correct.
So, this isn't something that developed mid-season because we got mad about a result against Louisville. This was something that was brewing for a while. We didn't know if it was going to rear its head because the kid is just so damn talented.
Yeah, what Tom's referencing is that there was a stretch where, one of the things about the GPS technology and all the other stuff that they use to monitor these players, it's helpful in a lot of ways. Lots of schools do it. It's not just us. But we were at the forefront in a lot of ways with concussion protocol and all those things. And it is pretty amazing that they have shown a willingness to really closely monitor, and they do so in a lot of ways, not just to improve performance, but also to pull a guy out when maybe he has concussion-like symptoms or is overheating. All of those things are true. But what it does do is it holds you accountable. And I think in many ways, being a modern college football player at a place like this would be extremely difficult, but it would also be extremely rewarding in that you would be held accountable. If you were not giving 80%, 90%, 100%, 60% in a given exercise, well, they know that. They know exactly how much effort you're actually giving. And they gauge it. They understand. And they have a baseline for you. And they monitor those reports that come in because it tells them who's trying really hard and who's not, to put it quite simply, and who's somewhere in between. And then they show the player that. And they'll say, look, you're doing a good job, but every day at around this time, for whatever reason, you are really struggling to give us your max effort. And if you want to get better and you want to get to where we need you to get, we need you to understand you can't take certain segments or periods off of practice. We call those loaves. And if you're loafing, we're going to call you on it. At one time, he led the team in loaves, and it wasn't close.
There's also the film aspect of it, too. When you're grading film and they do the graduate assistants after the quality control people that we talk about with Alabama, they go back and they can look, and that eye in the sky doesn't lie either.
Yeah,
so
and I want to make it clear that it wasn't a sustained
heart rate was
thing.
doing at a certain time.
But that's exactly what we mean. And I want to make it clear, I'm not saying that sustained itself. I'm not saying that was something that went on and on. It was just something that was a reality and that they were challenging him. They were challenging him because he was trying, in their eyes, I think it was less about being lazy and more about relying on immense natural talent, just ability, the body type, that strength, his ability to turn it on and to turn it off. And they didn't want him to fall into that trap.
Well, and here's because it's complicated with Josh because there's a whole lot of things going on.
The injury that he came here with.
Obviously, he'd have to work his ass off to be able to rehab and get in a position where he could have played in his true freshman season.
Without question.
Then he was hurt last season before the Louisville game. Remember the
flew
separate flight?
late,
He didn't make the flight and all that. And then in the dead of night on a Friday, that was the storyline. And then there's also the mental makeup. Josh Sweat is a different guy. Football isn't everything to Josh Sweat.
No, the son of two teachers, right?
Exactly. And he said, I talked to him last year at Media Day, and I found him really interesting because he seems at peace with who he is and what he is. And that's rare because you're dealing with kids that are growing up and they're being forced to grow up at a really rapid rate for two reasons. One, they're in the spotlight all the time. And two, a lot of times the school system that they came from, it's just the economics of it, has failed them. And so they have to kind of be forced along and be all these things to all these people
and this was
in a really compressed period of time.
And this was not meant to be some sort of character assassination, but rather, I find it frustrating that you've got a guy who's a potential superstar who at one stretch is, for whatever reason, leading the team in loaves, and then now saying it started in practice, we had bad habits. It's easy to say, but we really need to work on those things. Well, damn it, man. What were you doing? And that makes you wonder what in the world was going on.
Well, sure. And in reading his comments that you get, or in seeing a video like they do, War Chant they have with the breakouts, and you see his comments. He says he's past it and he's put that behind him and he's,
that's
trying
a
to be.
maturity issue, I would think.
Well, sure. And the thing is that's another part of it. Jimbo would, I think, regurgitate something that he says often, which is we ask a lot of freshmen and sophomores and they're not allowed to grow up and learn. And that's part of the growing up process is, yes, I know, the consistency of it and what you need to bring, play in and play out. And we'll see if he's learned that. Down the stretch, he certainly did. He was a force to be reckoned with. as the season was waning, you saw his effort level go through the roof, and what he can do with that skill set's crazy. But you have a lot of factors going on. Like I said, he's coming off of the injury in high school, and to the shock of us all, Brad Long mentions his name to you on Media Day a couple of years ago, and he was right. We thought there's no way he could be ready for freshman season. He totally was. Comes back last year, and then he gets hurt again before the Louisville game. So maybe there's lingering effects of that. Maybe there's pressures that he has back at home. Who knows? But I'm just saying that he's wired differently. He has an injury history, and he's really gifted. So, there are things going on that are just more than saying that dude's a lazy player.
Right, but the loafs are the loafs. And
That's
the
true, too.
point is I need that to get better. And when he tells me, or the media, that they develop bad habits in practice, and the quote again was one that kind of surprises you when you hear him talking the way that he did. I just kind of wonder, especially when you have the result that we had a year ago against Louisville. It's easy to say it, but we really need to work on some of those things. It started in practice, bad habits. I don't know who to blame there. I mean, there's a part of me that's not even blaming him. Obviously, Loaf's, the player can be held accountable. But there's another part of me that is saying, what was going on? We don't get to watch practice. We don't know. We get what Jimbo tells us. We get what players are allowed to comment. Do you really believe they're not being held accountable?
No.
I don't buy that.
No, I don't buy that either. It's one of those things that, again, it's a kid making a comment, but the mistakes I made are unfortunate.
Yeah.
With Jim Tressel, and that's a fully grown man who said something as asinine as that.
Yeah.
But the idea that, we develop bad habits in practice, it doesn't exactly take ownership of everything.
No, it definitely pawns it off, and it sounds like a throwaway thing. I don't think that's real. I don't think it drives me crazy.
I think that's the royal
say,
we, man. I think that's the royal we being used.
Yeah, and I also don't. I mean, he's talking now about the need to take responsibility, and we're 5 months away from the start of a season. And he said after practice earlier this week that his group is the one that's going to have to kind of lead the way. Quote, if it doesn't go well in our group, I don't think we can get it done this year. We have a lot of young guys. I'm not even a senior. And I got to move to the leadership role. Maybe not as vocal, but I'm trying to keep the room together because we're trying to teach a lot of people. I mean, I think we're coming along really well. I think spring is coming along really well. All right, well, I would love to think of a fully motivated, locked in, this is my money year, Josh Sweat. Because here's what is true. All the rah-rah nonsense in the world and the putting your arm around a guy and telling him how important it is that he do this, this, and this, that doesn't go nearly as far as a player physically laying it on the line, busting his ass as an example every day, playing for that dollar, playing in a way that is, hey, this is the season. Well, that motivates more than anything else, and that paves the way for what work ethic looks like.
In reviewing his comments, too, in context, you can hear the tone. Again, free love, but I can encourage people to go to War Chant and watch that video because there's a couple interesting things you pick up. One thing you pick up is he doesn't like the hollering and screaming approach of a coach because he says he doesn't think that's productive. If he were to lead, he would not lead in that way. So what does that mean to me? That means that he is not motivated in a way that some kids are. Sure. With drill sergeant-like approach. So that's not him. The way he perceives that the team needs to be led in that position group is not the way DeMarcus Walker led the group, which is interesting to me too because DeMarcus was very much trying to be the poster child, vocal leader. It all starts with me, the buck stops here kind of guy. That's what he was trying to be last year to mixed results. But certainly DeMarcus got his own results, and DeMarcus was a force to be reckoned with who cared an awful lot. What Josh is saying is whoever's on the field, you lead by what you've said in the past. It's what you do on the field.
It's what you do on the field, man.
So everybody just needs to do their part and produce. It's not about trying to replace a DeMarcus Walker. It's just do what you need to do. And if we take care of what we're supposed to in this segment, then things are going to be A-okay for us as a team and as a defense.
Well, and certainly they've got something to prove after the start they got off to last year. One more note, speaking of leading by example and or being influenced by coaching. It was pretty cool for, I would think, Rick Trickett to be able to get the kind of acknowledgement that he got from Brian Stork, who retired at the age of 26 from the National Football League. And he says to Stork, I can't say I'm retiring because I'm only 26, but I've decided to officially step away from playing the game of football, which I have always loved and will always love dearly. I've been on many great teams, starting from the JFL Mattoon Breakers, Vero Beach Fighting Indians, Florida State Seminoles, and the New England Patriots. Seems like Vero Beach may want to look at their logo. All these teams were full of great men who I enjoyed fighting side by side with. While chasing a childhood dream, I was very blessed. I had family and friends, coaches on my side to help me get to where I wanted to go. Along the way, I was able to achieve awards and championships, but I couldn't have done it without all of them. One person who had the biggest impact on me was Rick Trickett at FSU. He pushed me to places I thought I could never go and prepared me not only for football but also for life. I'm taking those life lessons, using them in this next step, looking back on how much was accomplished in such a short period of time, gives me confidence that I'm capable of accomplishing whatever I do next at the highest level. So he wins a national championship, then he wins a Super Bowl championship, but suffers from concussions, had concussions when he was here, went on to start for the New England Patriots, win a Super Bowl title, but also suffered concussions in the league, gets traded to the Washington Redskins because of those concussions. I'm sure of it. Certainly wasn't a lack of ability. Basically can't report because of the problems and decides to walk away. Good decision to walk away. I'm not going to lie. I have real concerns about his future. He had real problems with concussions, and it goes back a ways, and that I always worry about.
Not the same exact circumstance, not even close, different position, different type of thing, but I'm sure he and William Floyd can understand each other's position about having to walk away from the game and winning back-to-back years, one pro, one college.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of similarities there, and unfortunately, one similarity for Brian Stork is the career comes to an end in an early fashion.
Yeah, and that's one that I have more concern about. You know, with William, of course, it was his knee, so he's able to walk away and say, hey, listen, you know what? And back at the time that William had his injury, you know, it was, you look at the scars on the knees of players that had MCLs and ACLs, they're barbaric. You look at them now, guys come back in less than a year in some cases, and you don't really see the overwhelming evidence that you once saw. It's amazing, the medical technologies. If we can get the same kinds of strides being made that they've made with the knee problems on the brain, they can save the sport.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Luxurious interior. It's that time of year again. Time for the best of the best. Visit Napleton Infiniti today and lease the Q50 for $319 a month for 39 months. $24.99 initial payment, tax, title, license, and options extra. Call 1-800-862-0406 for details. Offer ends 3/31/17. Infiniti is an official partner of NCAA men's basketball. NCAA and March Madness are registered trademarks of the National Collegiate Athletic Association. Infiniti. Empower the drive.
Hi, honey. How was your day?
It was fine. Pretty uneventful. How about you?
Well, I called the auditors this afternoon and made an appointment for one to come out to the house.
Wait, what? Have you lost your mind? Auditors? Why would you call them? Now we have to find our tax returns, paycheck stubs, and financial records, not to mention all those forms. Good grief.
Relax, honey. It's not that kind of auditor.
It's not?
No. I called the City of Tallahassee Utilities and scheduled a free energy audit.
Energy audit?
Right. It's when an energy auditor from our own utilities comes out to the house, examines the structure, and checks our energy and water systems, and then recommends changes we might make to save energy, water, and money.
And you said it's free?
Absolutely. It's free from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, our own utilities.
Sounds good to me. Let's save some money.
If you're a City of Tallahassee residential, electric, and natural gas customer, you can schedule a free energy audit. Call 891-4YOU. That's 891-4968. And schedule your free energy audit at a time most convenient for you. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, your own utilities.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Everyone's going naked this March Madness. Hooters is the place to be to cheer on your favorite team. All-you-can-eat wings to tip off the big tourney the week of March 13th. Did I mention Hooters has fish? All-you-can-eat fish 4 straight Fridays starting March 17th. Happy hour 4 to 6 Monday through Friday along with half-price apps. What about Wings Day Wednesday? Bottomless, boneless wings and fries. And remember, no great story ever started over breadsticks. Hooters makes you happy. 2000 North Monroe Street. Online at Hooters.com or call them at 385-2004.
Hey there, this is Gabe Grass, founder of Grasslands Brewing Company. I'm inviting you and your family to celebrate our 2-year anniversary this Saturday, March 25th. We love the Tallahassee community, and because you're the reason we've come this far, we have a full lineup of family-friendly activities, brewery tours, local nonprofits, craft demonstrations, food vendors, and live performances. Starting at 12 p.m., we'll have tons of new and rare beer releases all day long. So come on out to the taproom this Saturday at 603 West Gain Street and join the party. Prost.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
All right, wrapping it up. I tweeted about it earlier. Some of you don't care anything about that. That's fine. But if you do, it's the 20th anniversary of Radiohead's OK Computer. That makes me feel really freaking old. Matthew wasn't born or barely born. He was barely born, and Tom was 10 and probably not thinking about Radiohead.
No, not at the time.
That album, ahead of its time, is an overused phrase. True, though, with that album. And the lyrical content of that album is spot on for listening to right now. About kind of bowing down to your computer overlords and what would society look like amongst other things. Go listen to that album start to finish because, you know, in a day and age where albums aren't made that way, it's refreshing.
The number one thing I was thinking about was probably
at 10
soccer. I don't know. I was into soccer and hockey at that point.
10, what was I thinking about?
I was watching
10 years old.
South Park. I was sneaking around and watching South Park because it had just became a show, and
It's
was
an amazing
really
thing to
inappropriate.
be at 10 years old to be able to watch South Park.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
See, when I was 10-ish, we weren't supposed to be watching MTV. There was no South Park, but MTV was a corrosive force.
Yeah. See, we had like the Barbara Streisand episode where she's Godzilla. You know, that was the very, very beginning of South Park. I think it was the Triangle of Zinthar, something like that.
Beautiful. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, life was simpler at 10, right?
It was.
Sneaking around watching South Park and thinking about soccer.
Well, and I'm telling you, it wasn't for another year, maybe 1, but 2 at tops. But no internet yet. No America Online, no, instant messaging and all that stuff. This was pre-internet. I remember it fondly.
I remember pre-internet very well, and I also remember pre-cell phone even more. And I don't know. I think I'm a big fan of pre-cell phone.
I remember that we were bourgeois in my home because we had 2 phone lines.
Sons of bitches.
Because my sisters needed one so they could talk to all their friends in high school. So we had 2 phone lines for my house.
I think we may have talked about this once before, but I can't remember what you said. You remember the busy signal?
Sure. Oh, hell yeah, I remember the busy signal.
Well, how has call waiting been around at the very least?
Call waiting, I could remember that too, but it was a,
Yeah, I remember the beep,
it was a premium thing.
And
yeah.
Well,
you had to hold down.
The big to-do.
And then sometimes you'd hold too long and
you'd
it would
lose
kill the
person.
Sure,
yeah,
I remember that.
But do you remember when call waiting got upgraded to a place where if you didn't answer your call waiting, they could still leave a voicemail while you were on the phone? It didn't always.
Yeah, you had to have the right answering machine for that, though.
Yeah.
We didn't have the right answering machine for that.
You could do that, and then later on, answering machines went away altogether.
They did.
And they had your own built-in situation.
Yeah,
where
I remember that.
You typed in a code.
Through the internet company, too.
Remember that? You typed in a code, all of that? Yeah. I can remember the days of calling a number repeatedly for hours on end, only to have that person still be on the phone and think I could rip this phone out of the wall.
Sure, yeah. I remember having to talk to Mrs. Whoever to go get,
To go get somebody
Yeah.
that you wanted to talk to. Think about how crazy
when
that
you're calling
sounds
a girl,
now.
how nervous you were.
Yeah. And you could hear them, and then
Is Jennifer home?
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was great for a parent to be able to answer the phone and just gauge by the kid's voice whether or not, I don't know about this one. Was a very respectful request.
What's up, Miss Cole? Where's Jennifer at?
Yeah, no, like, whoa, what are we doing here? Yeah, so that's crazy. I can't decide right now in this moment whether or not I would want to go back to that, because then the phone would bring ringing off the hook all the time at the house.
Oh, yeah.
And that
You're in
really,
demand.
It didn't, no, because of my kids. I'm talking about my kids. I think I'd find that really annoying. You know what I think I'd do? Because I'm a jerk this way. Hon, you got that? I'd be real big on
that was a big thing.
Since you're up.
If my dad ever had to get up to get the phone, if it was after work, if it was, he gets home from work. No, man. He didn't play that.
To this day, we talk about it all the time. It's the one thing that really, it's not the one thing. It's one of many things, but it's something that cracks me up that really differentiates between the generations. And people over the age of, say, 60 are so compelled to answer the damn phone. Like, the idea of letting it go to voicemail or turning it off is foreign to them, because they came from a time where if you didn't pick up the phone, who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? Could have been the most important call.
Oh, they're out of breath when they pick it up.
You have no idea. Oh, you're like,
because the answering machine starts.
It tells you who called.
You've reached Thomas Lang.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, I'm here. You there? You there?
It's ridiculous.
Dad, it's fine.
It's okay.
I'm right here.
To this day, it makes me laugh. I watch my mother. Oh, I got to get that. No, you don't. We're in the middle of the store. Who cares? Let it go to voicemail. You can see who's calling. It's Steve. Steve's calling. You'll call him back. What do you care? No, just let me get this. You don't have to. You don't have to get it at all. That's the beauty of the modern. You don't have to. Great work, Matthew. You won't. Bye, everybody.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574